Hi everyone and welcome back to today's new tutorial topic. So today I'm starting for the new journey of Python for object-oriented programming. So in this session I'm first of all explain for what is object-oriented programming. Okay, so now let's get started and here I'm properly explain for in this topic. So you can see first of all I am just explain for what is object-oriented programming. Okay. So, object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm that organizes structure design around data or object rather than functions in the logic. An object can be defined as a data field that has unique attribute and behavior. And its object-oriented program is focused on using the object as the primary means to structure and build software applications. Okay. So you can say first I'm explain for the some key concept of object-oriented programming. First I'm explain for the classes and object. Okay. So classes is a blueprint for creating object like instance. It defines a data structure, typically a set of attributes like the data members, and the methods for the function that manipulate the data. So for example here, a car class might include attributes like the color, model, and the methods like drive or brake. An object for an object is an instance of a class. When a class is defined, no memory is allocated until an object of that class is created, and its object has its own set of attributes defined by the class. Okay. And next topic I'm explain for the key concept of object-oriented programming. Okay. So first one is the encapsulation. So encapsulation refers to bounding the data like attributes and the methods like functions that operate on the data into a single unit or class. An encapsulation is achieved using access modifier like private, protected, and the public, which control how data and methods are accessed from outside the class. And next we'll explain for the inheritance. Okay. So inheritance is a mechanism where a new class known as a derivative or the child class and inherits attribute in the behavior like the methods from an existing class known as a base or parent class. So for example, a child class might inherit from a vehicle class and gaining its attributes like wheels and engine, and while also adding the unique feature like cargo capacity. Okay. So I hope you properly explain the concept. And next time I will also explain for the total I will explain for the five the most important concept. So next concept for the polymorphism. So polymorphism can achieve through method overriding, where a child class provides a specific implementation of a method that is already defined in its parent class, or method overloading, where multiple class methods share the same name but have different parameters. Next, we explain for the abstraction. The abstraction involves hiding complex implementation details and showing only the essential feature of an object, and allow a programmer to focus on inheritance at a high level without worrying about the intricate details. Okay. And next we will also explain for the advantage of OPP means object-oriented programming. First one, the modularity. The source code for an object can be written and maintained independently of the source code for the object. And second advantage for the reusability. Objects and the classes can be used across the programs, leading to more efficient code. And next I'm explaining for the scalability. Object-oriented programming makes it for easier to manage and scale large software projects. And next for the advantage is the maintainability. So code is easier to maintain and modify due to the clear structure provided by classes and objects. And last time explain for the flexibility. For the inheritance and the polymorphism for object-oriented programming allow for flexible and intensible code. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding in the studios to prepare for what is the object-oriented programming. So in this topic, I'm properly explain for the core concept and advantage. Okay, so I hope you properly understanding this topic. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today I'm properly explain for understanding classes and object. Okay, I'm here in this session and provide for the best practical example and I hope you properly understanding this topic. So now just go in the next slide. So here, first of all, I'm explaining for what is class. Okay. So a class is a blueprint or template that defines the structure and behavior of object. It's encapsulated data attribute and the function method that operate on the data. And attribute, these are variables that belong to the class. They represent the properties or the characteristic of the class. So for example, a car class attribute might include color, model, and the year. And the method for these are functions that belong to the class. They define the behavior or action that an object is created from the class can perform. For any of the car class might have methods like the start, stop, and the accelerate this method. Okay, so you can see here properly understanding for is a class. And next slide I will explain for what is an object. So an object is an instance of a class. When you create an object, you can essentially creating for in this specific realization of the class, and you can see here is with a own set of attribute and the method. And this object can have different values for its attribute. You can draw a set created from the same class. So for example, if you have a car class, then you can create multiple car objects like the my car and the your car. And each of this object will have its own color, model, and the year. But they will share the structure and behavior defined by the car class. Okay? So in this session, I'm provide for the example and I hope you properly understanding these classes and object. Okay. So now just I'm open for here is a Python code editor and here I'm create a simple example for creating a class and object in Python. Okay. So you can say I'm open for this Python is a community version and in this inside I'm create a simple example here. So first of all, I'm defining a class. So just I'm type the class name is a car. Okay. And next step I'm type with a function for div and double dash and then type init. So in this inside set the attributes. So first I'm type is the color. And second I'm type for is the model and third I'm use for is the year. Okay. And just I'm going to the first I'm type the self dot apply this color and is equal to create this color. Is attribute and next making type for self dot is type with some model and is equal to type this model. Next making use for the self dot is type a year and is equal to properly type this year. Okay, so you can see it went perfectly. And now create another function named is start. Okay, the start function type div and just going it's a method and now just remove the return statement. So here I'm used for the existing output is show. So custom type is self dot type is a model. So model is starting. So you can see here is starting. And now for the another function just type is a div and then type for a stop in this. And now just go in the next method and here and type the return statement. And we can use for existing the code. So you can see and type for a self dot apply in this model. Okay, and here I'm type for is a stopping. You can see here is it almost completely done. And now I'm create for here is a just creating an object of the car class. So you can see first of all I'm type is a my car and is equal to calling for the class name is a car. And in this insert, first of all, I've said the car color is a red, and second I'm type for the car model is a Toyota is a Camry. Okay, so the Camry and used for the year is the 2022. Okay, it's done. And next one is listening for the attributes and the methods. So first of all, I mean the print function. So in this instance, first enter the my car dot apply in this color attributes, and second I'm again use for in the print function and print for the my car dot is set for the model. And next time again use the print function, and in this insert first of all I'm calling the my car dot use in this start method. Okay, so you can see here I'm properly used in this example, and you can see here is a double dash in it. This method is a special method called a constructor. It is used to initialize the attribute of the class when an object is created. Okay, and here I'm also creating a object for just like it's a my car. Okay, and in this incident set for the car color is a red, model for Toyota Camry, and the year is 2022. It's create an object of the car class. The attribute for the color, model, and the year are set to red, Toyota Camry, and the 2022 is respectively. Okay, so you can see also here I'm just accessing for the attribute for the all the object is created. You can access this attribute using its dot. You can see here I applied the dot notation for my color, my car dot color, and polish in this method for is a my car dot in this start method. Okay, so you can see here properly created is a perfect example. And now just I'm save and just let me run this code. Now, so I hope you proper understanding in this output. So just click on. So they can see here the first is the print for the car color is red, and the car model for is a Toyota Camry, and here the method message for the Toyota Camry is starting. Okay. So I hope you proper understanding in this output. So this tutorial is completely done, and here I am perfectly create for in this car and car class and object, and here I'm provide for in this attribute method use for the best example. Okay, so I hope you proper understanding this today's tutorial. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone, and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today I'm explaining for is a procedural difference between the object-oriented programming. Okay, so this session will properly explain for in this two topic and provide for the best practical example. Okay, so now let's get started. So first of all, I'm explaining for what is the procedural programming for PP. The procedural programming, this paradigm is based on the concept of procedure calls, where the program is composed of the procedures or routines, also for the functions or subroutines. And these procedures operate on data, and the program's control flow is typically linear, with the procedures being called in a sequence. And the core concept for the procedural programming, like the procedure, the functions. The building blocks of the procedure or function is function perform a specific task such as calculating a value or processing unit. And another the core concept for is a global data. So data is often stored in global variable which can be accessed and modified by any procedure within the program. And next topic we explain for here is object-oriented programming. So object-oriented programming is based on the concept of object, which encapsulate data for attribute and the method for function that operate on the data, and program are structured around this object and which can interact with each other. And I will explain for the core concept for object-oriented programming, like the classes and object encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, and also for the understanding. So in this session, I'll only explain for the classes and the object and also for the encapsulation. So classes and objects, the building blocks are the classes and object. A class define a blueprint for object with an instance of the class. And the encapsulation is data and method are encapsulated with an object, and this measure that an object internal state can only be modified through its method ensuring data integrity. So in this session, I'll provide for the best two examples for first the procedural programming and second example I'm going for the object-oriented programming. Okay. So now let's open for here is a Python this code editor. And in this inside, first of all, I'm creating here the procedural programming example. And here I'm the procedural approach to calculate the area of a rectangle. Okay. So in this is the first one type the function name is a calculate underscore is the area is a function name. And in this insert first I'm going to type is a length and second I'm type is the width. And now the script one and here I'm used for is a return statement. So first of all I'll type the length and the multiplication sign is the width. Okay. And now first of all I'll type is the length. So length is equal to 10 and apply for is the width is equal to 5. And now just to create the variable name is say area and is equal to now define for the calculate area. This inside I'm defined for the length and also I'm defined for the width. Okay. And now I'll print for in this symbol. So first of all type if string format. The if format for the first one type is the area and clone. And now I'm calling for in this area this variable. That means in the procedure for the calculate area function is a procedural that takes a length as a width is input and return the area. And you can see the data flow for the length and the width is passed directly to the function which processes it and returns a result. Okay. So now just I'm saving this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, the total print for the output for area is a 50. Okay, so I hope you're understanding. It's called the procedural programming example. And next topic in create for here is object-oriented example. So now just I'm removing this code and here, first of all, here I'm create is a object-oriented programming approach to calculate the area of a rectangle. So you can see here I'm create the class name is a rectangle. Okay. And in this just create this clone. And first of all, I'll define the function name and then tab is a double init. So in this incident set for the attributes, so first of all, that is a length and second attribute is a width. Okay. And just going, so first of all, I'm type the self dot is a length and is equal to again type for this length. And now just type for self dot is a width is equal to in this width. Okay. And now with another function name is a div and then type for it's a calculate area method. Okay, so area and this inside define this one and I'll just use the return the statement and then type for its properly the cell dot apply in this length and multiplication sign then type for the self dot apply in this way. Okay. And now just to create the object, so first type the short form, the rectangle is a rect, and the full form calling the class name is a rectangle. And insert it with the value is same value for 5, 10 and 5. And now define for the variable name is the area and then type for is a rect dot and type for the calculate area in this method. And now just remove the string function and in this first type is the if formatted output. So here on type it's the area and we create this graphics inside I'm declare for in this area variable. That means in this example is completely done and here I'm create the class is a rectangle. The class is encapsulate the data length and the width and the method to the calculate area. And the object for in this rect is an instance of the rectangle class. It contains its own length and the width. Okay. So now just I'm properly saving this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, the properly for the same output is perfectly print for the area of 50. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding this today's tutorial and here I'm properly create for in this the object oriented programming for it's a difference between the procedural and the object-oriented programming. So I hope you properly understanding this today's tutorial topic. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's new tutorial topic. So today I'm starting for the new journey is a Python. So here I'm starting for the Python for object-oriented programming in this journey. And in this session, I am explaining the core concept of object-oriented programming and properly using the Python code. Okay. So first of all, here I'm defining and creating the classes. Okay. So in this session, first I'm explain for introduction to classes. So a class in Python is a blueprint for creating object. It allows us to bundle the data and the functionality together. And the classes typically consist of attributes which are variable and the methods which are functions that operate on these variables. Okay. So in this series, so first thing create here is creating a simple class. Okay. So now let's try. So first of all, I'm just going for and create a new file, and in this inside I'm create for the class name which is properly the class name is a dog. Okay. And in this inside first enter the function is state and then type it double dash and in this init. So in this inside first of all I'll set for the attribute. So first of all is auto generate for the cell. And second, then create the two attributes. So first is the name, and second one type is the brand. Okay. And just in the next line in here, first of all, I'm type the self dot use for in this name this attribute and is equal to again type for in this name. Second, then type for the self dot is defined for its a brand is equal to brand. Okay. Is done, and now I'll create for the another function name is a bar. Okay, so I'm just type the bar, and in this inside I'm just auto generate for the cell, and now I'm just use for in this the return statement and use for the a format output. So first of all I'm just type for is a self dot define the name variable, and here I'll type for is a space for just in this bar sound. Okay. And next step here, I'm use for is it just create the object here. So you can say I'm only created here is a class. Okay. So first time type is a my underscore is it dog is the main class and is equal to now calling for this dog class, and I'll just set for the proper information. So first time type is a dog name is a body. Okay. And also when I'm create is a brand for is a, so I'm just type it's a golden is a retriever for the dog brand. Okay. So sorry, the retriever. So it's not it's perfect. So TRI. Okay. So EV is a retriever. Okay. And now just go in the next line of code, and here I'm type this properly in this print, and this inside I'm declare is a my dog dot apply in this bar this method. Okay, that means in this example I'm simply here create a simple class name just called a dog and the init. So in this init method is a special method called a constructor. And here I initialize the attributes, object attributes for the name and the brand. And also here I'm defined in this the bar method, the return string. Okay. So you can see I'm properly created now. I'm also here access for the method for the my dog. Dot is the bar method. Okay. So now let's see the output. So first of all I'm properly saved in this code. And just press for in this is a run icon. Just click in. Okay, so you can see here the properly show the output is print for the virus is good. Okay, so I hope you understand it. Okay. So next topic here I'm also created here is a adding more functionality for in this classes. Okay, so you can see first of all I am remove for in this all code. Okay, and first I'm defined it's a class name is a circle. So it's done for the circle. And just create this one and now going for the next line and define for the function for init. So first of all here in this inside I'm just define it's a radius. Okay. So radius, and now just go in this next line and here and type is a self dot is type is a radius and is equal to type is properly in this radius. Okay. And now in create for the function name is a div and then type for it's the area. And in this inside and properly type is for self. Okay, and just doing the next one and here I'm used for is a return statement and this inside I'm defined for 3.1 and the multiplication sign and then type is properly self dot is a radius and then the double is a 2 multiplication and then 2. Okay, so you can see here is a properly created now. And just I'm going for is the next line of code and first of all I'm create the object now. So first of all I'm typing the my underscore is a circle and is equal to again type for this circle and in this insert I'm defined for the value is 5. And now just use this print function and in this insert first of all I'm typing is the area and just I'm create and calling for is a my circle dot use for in this simple area. Okay. So I hope you're understanding and you're properly used. And you can see you have created another class named is circle with attributes and the method for in this the area calculating the area. Okay. So now I'm just properly in this code is completely done and here I'm used the radius as an argument and also I'm defined for the method for in this area. Okay. And this properly perform is calculations. Okay. So now just I'm select all and properly and just I'm save and just let me run this code now. So you can see here I have just mistakenly defined for here. So it's a radius and then just again save and just I'm going for and press for in this run. Just clicking. So now just wait and you can see here and fetch for the simple error here. So now just I am properly just solve for this error. So you can see I'm checking this. Okay. So now, okay. So here I'm just mistake is perfect. This one. Okay. And just I'm save this code and let me run this code. Now I can see here they perfectly see the output for the area of 78.5. Okay. So that's it for the today's tutorial properly done and here properly created classes are the foundation of object-oriented programming in Python. Okay. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today I am exploring for the most important method in Python for the object-oriented programming like the init method. So first of all here I am explaining for what is the init method. So in this the double dash in this init method in Python is a special method that gives is called when an object is created from a class and it's known as a constructor and its primary role in the initialize to the object attribute and also for the self parameters refers to instance being created allow us to set initial value of the object. So in this session first of all I will create the basic uses of init method. So now let's create this example. So you can see first of all here this main.python inside and create for here the another class name is a car. Okay. And then we are used for the apply the properly this div and then type is init. So in this inside and type for it's a brand name. Okay. Brand and then model. And now just go in the next line and first of all I'm type the self dot it's a brand is equal to type for this brand. And second, I'm again just type with the self dot use for is a model the attributes for it's a model. Okay. So you can see here it's done. Now just trying to create the another function name is a div and the type is a description. So is the description is properly used now. And just to the next line here I'm use the return statement. And here I'm used for the existing output. So just I'm type for this card. Okay. So this car is a used for is then type self dot inserted for the brand name And also here type is another curly brackets. This inside I'm telling self dot it's a model. Okay. You can see here it's done, and now I'm going for, and first of all create object is a my underscore is a card. And just I'm calling for the class name is a card. Okay. So now just I'm import for the car description. So first time on the car brand name is a Toyota, and then also create the car model is a Corolla. Okay. So is a superlative is a Corolla. And now the term we use for is a print function, and in this insert first term declare is a marker dot is declare is a descriptive in this function. That means is a basic example here and properly create is a car class with for in this init method that takes for is a brand and a model as parameter. Inside the method and properly used for in this self is just assign this value to object attribute. And in the descriptions, you can see the description method uses attribute to return a string. Okay. So you can see here it's done properly, and now just I am save this code and just let me and just see the output. Okay. So now just press for this run button. So you can see here the perfectly setting the brand is a Toyota and the model for the Corolla. And the output here is print properly. This car is a Toyota Corolla. Okay. So I hope you understand it. Okay. So next topic I'm just creating is a setting is a default values. Okay. So you can see here I'm type for the create another example now. So you can see here I'm first just type. So just I am remove for again in this all code and create for the another class name is a book. Okay. And just define for the function and then type for a double dash in it. So in this insert I'm set for it's a it's the title. Second one type it's a author. So author is I'm just type it's an unknown. Okay. So the unknown. I'm just going the next line of code. And first of all here I'm typing self dot define it's a title is equal to this title parameter. And secondly we type for the self dot it's a author. So author is equal to type for in this author. And now I print another function name is a so define is date and the function the method name is a details. Okay, so details and just when the next line and here I'm using the properly the return statement and use for the a string output. So here I'm trying to first define it's a self dot it's a title. Okay, and also here I'm create. So you can see here I'm create there must be created single quotations inside now. So it's perfect. And then here I'm type for it's a just a message for the by and again uses curly brackets. So in this insert I'm type for the self dot it's calling for this author. Okay. And now just I'm create for is a just in this code. So first of all I'm type it's a my book, it's an object type and then define for this book. And now I'm set for the book details. Okay. So first of all I'm inserted for the year. So just I'm type for is a 1984 century, and the book name is a here is a just I'm type for is a yours is Orwell. Okay, so Orwell is done. And now just when the next line first of all I'm type it's a author. Another variable name is the author underscore it's a book. And is equal to now I'm calling for the class name is a book, and in this inside I'm type is the untitled. Okay, so T-I-T-L-E-D. So untitled and just on the next line of code and here I'm just print for in this input. So first of all type is a my book just is object dot define for the method is a details. And second I'm again for in the spring function and in this insert type of the author code dot use for in this details this method. Okay. That means is properly creating in this code and here I'm create and set the default value in the init method, and the book class take the title and the author is a parameter, but the author has a default value of unknown. When you create for in this my book and provide the both the title and author for the author book and only provide the title. Okay, since see the title we can see the show the output for in this line. So now just I select all properly and save this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here it properly show the output. So first to the print for the is a 1984 by George Orwell and is untitled by unknown for is a second output. Okay, so I hope you proper understanding in this output. So in this today's topic is completely done and properly I'm used for its init method is essential for setting up object in Python. Okay, so I hope you proper understanding this tutorial. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today I'm creating here is a just create and use object in Python object-oriented programming. So in this session, first of all, I'm explaining for what is object. Okay. So in Python, an object is an instance of a class, and a class like a blueprint and an object is a specific example of the class. An object can have attribute which store data and the method which is performed actions. And now let's see the example and I hope you proper understanding the fundamental object in Python and just working the Python classes. Okay. So you can see this session and first is creating the simple example and here I'm accessing and modifying the object attributes. Okay. So now just create. So you can see first of all I'm create the simple class name. It's a card. Okay. And in this inside I'm first type is a function and then type init and in this inside I'm just must be typing the attribute. It's a brand and second line type is a model. Okay. And just run the next line of code and first of all I'm type self.xa brand and it's equal to again define this brand. And next time type with the self.xa model and is equal to type of this model. And next line here and create is just calling and create another just create the object it's in my car and is equal to create for is another just calling for in this main car object. Okay. So this things and just search for the car information. So first in tab it's the car brand name is a Toyota and the car model name is a Camry. Okay. So you can see here China is a Camry. And now just use for this print function and in this insert custom define the my car dot is type it's a brand name. It's accessing for the attributes. And second I'm again calling for the my car dot apply in this model and it's equal to set for the model it's a just I'm type it's properly it's a Corolla. Okay. And now it's in this line is modifying the attributes. Okay. So you can see I'm just use for the print function and this inside custom defined is a my car dot apply in this model. Okay. So that means it's properly created in this simple example and here properly access and modify its attribute and in this simple example. And you can see here is in this my car is an instance of the car class with a brand of Toyota and a model of Camry. And the next is for in this the brand attribute. So in this brand attributes using who the micro the brand is print the Toyota can also change the model. Okay, so now just I'm checking this code. So first of all, I select all and set this code now. Okay, and just click on in this RAM icon. So you can see here the first is the print for the micro and the brand name is a Toyota and the model name is a perfectly print for is a Corolla. Okay, so I hope you proper understanding. It's a properly update for in this output. Okay. So next topic here in create is using the multiple object. Okay. So now let's try. So you can see first of all I'm new for in this output. And here I create another class name is a student. Okay, so student. And just in the next line, I'm define for the function for def and then double dash and type of the init. So in this insert first I'm type the student name and also for here I'm type the student grade attributes. And first of all I'm type the self dot is defined its same name attribute is equal to this name. Second I'm type for the self dot is a grade attribute and defined for in this grade. Okay. And now just to use for the another function is def and then type is a def the type it's a introduce. So introduce the in. So introduce so just on going the next line of code and here and use for the return statement and type for the string format the output. So in this insert first of all I'm type for it's a my name. Okay. So my name is and use this curly brackets inside type for the self dot. It's a name attribute. And also you type for I am. Okay. So I am in grade. And then type for this curly brackets inside the self dot declare for in this grade this attribute. Okay. So I hope your understanding is done. And next topic here I'm calling for the attribute. So first of all I'm type the student 1 and is equal to calling for this student. Okay. So in this insert first time type for the student name is Alisa and next time type for the student grade of is it 10. Okay. And next is I'm just again create a student of 2 and is equal to calling for this student class. In this insert I'm set for the another student name it's set for and the Bob grade of is a 12. Okay, so you can see here it's done. And now just let me run in this code so use for the print function. So in this instance, first time type the student dot on and then it's introduced in this method. And next time use for taking this print function, we define the student of 2 dot apply in this introduce this method. So you can see here I'm properly create it's a multiple object from the same class and each with its own unique attribute. And here I'm defined for is a student class with the name and the grade attribute. And create here properly the two objects like the student is 1 and the student of 2. And it's represent for the Alice's 10th grade and the Bob is a 12th grade. And his object can call the introduce method. You can see here introduce in this method to personalize in this message. Okay, you can see here the properly print. Now just I am properly select all and set this code now and just I am let me run this code. So as you can see here the properly print the output. So you can see here the output show the my name is Alice and I am in grade 10. And followed by here is my name is Bob and I am in grade is 12. That means in this output is perfectly show the output in the console. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding the student's tutorial and here I am completely creating and using the object in Python. It's all about bringing your classes to life and either you are working with a single object or multiple inheritance and understanding is properly access, modify and the interact in this example. Okay. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's new tutorial topic. So today we will explore the difference between class and inheritance variables in Python object programming language. So in this session, first of all, I'm explaining for what are class and the instance variable. Okay. So in Python is provide the variable is defined in a class can either be class variable or instance variable. And the class variable is shared by all instances of the class, while instance variables are unique to each object created from the class. And I hope you people understanding the difference between them is the crucial for managing data in your group. Okay. So in this session, first of all, I'm explaining the example for I'm creating is a defining class and instance variable. Okay. So you can see here, I'm first to create the new class name is the dog, the class name. Okay. And now I'm used for the space for the dog is to create the class variable. So first I'm create the class variable name is a space. The space and is equal to type for as a space is a I'm define the text is a this word is a sentence for canis familiars. Okay. So the familiars and next line here I'm defined is a function def and double dash and then type for in this init. So in this sense at first I'm define the attribute is name and the age attribute. Okay. And now for the instance variable. So first of all I type the self dot is define the name and is equal to in this name instance variable. And next time type for again the self dot define the age is equal to in this age attribute. Okay. And now I'm create for the object in this next line. So first I'll type the dog 1 and is equal to calling for the dog class. And in this insert I'll set for the dog information. So first I'll type the first dog name is the body. Okay. And the body is 5. And now I'm just for the second dog information. So just have the dog is 2 and calling for the class name is the dog and set for the name is a. So now set for the another dog name is a Milo. Okay. It's the Milo or the Milo and then just going on the age is 3. Okay. So you can see it done and last time it show the output. So you can see first of all and type the print function. This insert first of all I'm declared the dog 1 dot apply here is a name attribute. And second I'm making use this print and in this insert I'm type for the dog of 2 dot apply for is a dog age. Okay. So that means it's properly almost created in this code and next line here I'm typing this please here where the is a user class space this method. So first of all I'm typing this sorry. The next line I'm for the print function and in this insert I'm type for is a dog 1 dot in this space. Okay. So you can see here in this example, I create the basic example for the dog class. This piece, you can see here in this piece is a class variable. Its meaning is shared by all instances of the class for is a name and the age. On the other hand, instance variable for unique to each object. And you can see here I properly create the two. Here it's a dog 1 and the dog 2. It has its own name and the age, but both share the same space. Okay, so you can see the output show that the dog dot name, the dog 1 is a body and the dog 2 name is a Milo. Okay, so you can see here the properly create and now just I'm select all and set this code now. So just let me run this code. So as you can see here, first to the print the output. For you can see here the dog name is a body and the body is a tree and also you treat the dog space for canis familiars. Okay, that means is properly the output show the body Milo and the here is a in the second dog and properly create the output for is a canis familiars this choice. Okay. So I hope you're understanding in this simple example. And now just I'm going for the next example and here I'm creating modifying classes difference between the instance variables. Okay. So you can see here I'm create for the another example now. So just I am. You can see first of all I am just remove. Okay. And here I'm creating another class name. It's the card. Just when the next line and here I'm type it's a the class variable name is a Wells and is equal to 4. And first of all the function is type for the init and in its inside I'm defined for then it's a brand and second I'm type for it's a model. And now I'm used for the attributes so it is instance variable for self dot is a brand and is equal to type for in this brand. And next time type for the another instance with the self dot its type of model and is equal to this model. Okay, now for the attribute, so first of all, the object, the car1, and then calling for the class name is the car. And in the same time, I'm set for the car information. So first of all, I'm type it's a totem, and the car model is it's a Camry. Is it done? And second line here, I'm create that car is 2 and is equal to calling for is a car class. And then in this inside, I'm set for the car name is a Honda. Okay, so you can enter the Honda, and the Honda model is a Accord. Okay, Accord is done. And now I'm used for is a car1 dot apply in this was and is equal to 3. That means is modify the instance variable for car1. And now I'm used for here the properly in the string function. So first is print the car1 information dot is a whiles. And second I'm again use this, and in this inside I'm type is a car of 2 dot apply in this whiles. And next time type for again in this the print function, and only I first apply the car dot in this while in this label. Okay, so that means is a completely creating this code, and here and create the modify class on the instance variable. And you can see here I'm create, you can see in the while is equal to 4 is a variable shared by all instances of the car class. And then we are created two car, the car 1 and the car 2 both start with the 4 whiles. Okay, and it's modified properly car 1 dot, you can see the car 1 dot whiles, and only affect for the car 1, not car 2 or the other on the classes. Okay, so you can see then I'll just select on and set this code, and just I am literally on this code now. So you can see here the properly show the output for 3 and 4 is perfectly done. That means it's completely working and being for in this code. Okay. So now that's it for the to this tutorial properly here, and create the class variable, provide the shared data access in all instances. Okay. So I hope you proper understanding in this topic. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone, and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today we're understanding the instance method in Python for object-oriented programming and how they are used with class object. So first of all, here I'm explaining for what are instance method. Okay. So instance method are function defined inside a class that operate on instance of the class. They are used to manipulate object attribute or perform operations using the data stored in an object. An object instance in this instance method always take self as the first parameter which represents the instance itself. Okay. So in this session, I will just provide for the best example for defining and using an instance method. Okay. We can see here I'm going to provide the best example. So first of all, I'm create the class name, just say it's a circle. Okay. And now define for the function, just type the date and then double dash, type for the init this cell. And in this inside, I'm set for it, the properly is a radius. Okay. So down the radius, and just in the next line of code, and first of all, I'm type the self is a standard variable for self dot is a radius. Okay, and is equal to again type for in this radius. This line is means the instance variable. And next step we will create another function for depth. It's a area. Okay, and then type for is in this line and create instance variables. You can send type the return. It's properly type the return and use for the area is a 3.14. And use the multiplication sign and then type for the self dot is a radius and then double multiplication sign for 2. That means it's create here the instance method. And now for the object, so first of all, I have the my circle and is equal to create for in this circle instead define for its age. Okay. And now just to use the string function, and here I'm create for is my circle dot apply in this area method. That means here the basic example, and here I'm defining a circle, the class, an instance variable for the radius, and the area method is a stance method that calculates the area of the circle using for in this radius. Okay, so you can see here it's done, and now just I am properly select all and set this code, and just I am let me run this code now. So as you can see here, the properly print for the output is a 200.96. Okay, so I hope you're understanding and properly show and calculate and return the area output. Okay, so I hope you're understanding. Okay, so next topic here is the example for modifying object attributes with instance method. Okay, so you can say first of all I'm remove for in this code and create the new class. So first of all I'll type the class name is a bank account, and it's is a bank account. And first of all, I'll define the function name is date and then type for in it. And in this insert, first is attribute is auto generated for the self, and now set for the two attribute like it's a owner. Okay, so with the owner, and second I'll type it's a balance. Okay, and now I'll just type for your self dot it's a owner. Okay, sorry, it's the type is properly is OWNE or owner, and is equal to it can type for in this owner. That means is the instance variable. And next time property again self dot it's a balance and is equal to type for this balance. That's where is also for the instance variable. And next time create for the another function name is a deposit, and this insert custom type is self, and also create the attribute its name is a amount. Okay, is the amount, and then the next line of code and first one type is self dot it's a balance, and it's equal to plus is equal to plus is a plus is equal to defined for in this amount. Okay, and now just wait for the return format and type for the F16 format code. So in this insert first of all and type it's a new balance. Okay, so new balance, and first I'm going to just curly. Okay, so first of all the dollar symbol and then curly brackets inside and for is a self dot apply in this balance. Okay, and now just in the next line and I'm print for in this output. So first of all here I'm type it's a account. Okay, so the variable name is the account is equal to type for is a bank account. So bank account name is a is a so and now I'm deposit for you is a 1000 euro. So now just I'm using the string function, and first to define is a account dot like the method is a deposit for 500. Okay, that means here I'm properly create the method. Instance method can also be used to modify object. And in this example, can create the bank account is a class name and have instance method, or you can see is a deposit. They increase the account balance by a specified amount, and here I create is a amount this object for the Zohan with an initial balance for the $1,000 and call for you can see the the account dot deposit method. Okay, so you can see here the properly created in this code, and now just I am select all and set this code, and just I am let me run this code now. So as you can see here the properly show the output for the new balance is a 1,500. Okay, that means it's properly show the output for the new balance. Okay, so you can see that today's tutorial is completely done, and here I'm properly create the method instance. It's an essential for working with object data in Python. Okay, so I hope you properly understanding this today's tutorial topic. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today I'm exploring for the class method and the class method decorator in Python's object-oriented programming. Okay. So today I'm properly explain for what are class method. Okay. So class method and method that belong to the class rather than any particular instance. They are defined using the @class method decorator and take the class as their first parameter, and which refers to the class itself, and the class method are often used for the factory method for operations that affect the class a whole rather than individual instance. So in this section, first of all, I'm create the example for defining a class method. Okay. So now let's try. So you can see first of all I'm create the class and the class name apply is a person. Okay, and now I am state the class variable to count instance. So just type for it's a here is a dash and then type it's a count. Okay, so you can see is a count is a count and is equal to 0. And next time define for the function is def and then type the double dash is init, and in this instance I'm set for only the name attribute. Okay, and just to the next line, and here I'm first is type the self dot is the name attribute and is equal to this name. And next time I'm calling for is the person dot and then type for is a count used for the class equal to 1. That means it's for the increment for the count. And now I'm apply for it's a class method. So first of all, I'm type the @ and then type it's a class this method. Okay. And now I'm use for the another function name is a date, and then the function name is a get underscore is a count. And in this inside, I'm only defined for this class. And now just use for the return statement and then type for is a class dot apply for in this count this method. This line in this line is new access the class variable. And now I'm create the object. So first of all I'm type the p1 and is equal to p for person, and this inside I'm type for the person name is a Jamil. Okay, and second I'm type for the another person name is a. So first time type is a person and the person name inserted is a name. Okay, sorry, it's a name. Okay, and just go in the next line. I'm just running this code. So use for the print function. And in the same side, first of all, I am create. Sorry, it's not p. It's a print. This inside first of all and print for the person dot apply in this get count this function this method. That means here properly define a person class with a variable is a the underscore count that tracks the number of instance. And you can see here I'm applying is a get count. This method is a class method that returns to the value is underscore in this count. And even throw, you can see here I'm applying the property the get count is called on the class itself rather than an instance. Okay, so you can see here at the done, and now just I'm properly select all and save this code, and just I'm let me run this code now. Okay, so as you can see here the properly show the output is true. That's why it's completely working. And next topic here, in this topic I'm just using the class method of for its a factory in this method. And now just I'm create here with another example. Okay, so I hope you properly understanding in this example. And first of all I'm removing this code, and first I'll create here is a class name is the temperature. Okay, so the temperature, and now just create the function and then type double dash in this init. And in this inside I'm just okay, sorry, so in this the self inside I'm create for is a Celsius. Okay, so is the Celsius for the temperature, and just in the next line and type for the instance method for the self dot it's a Celsius. Okay, is Celsius and is equal to type for again the Celsius. And now just to define for in this class method, so you can see this class method. And now we create another function is def and then use for the from underscore is a Fahrenheit. Okay. Sorry, it's not for the Fahrenheit. So the foreign H-E-I-T. And in this inside, first of all, I'm define the class. And also we have typed it's a Fahrenheit. Okay. So it's done for the Fahrenheit. And now just I'm going to the next line of code. And so, sorry, here I'm not mistakenly defined for in this E. Okay, it's done. And now I'm going for and just calling for in this Celsius. So I'm type for is a cell. Sorry, is a cell. Cells is a variable. And in this insert, I'm put the parenthesis inside the Fahrenheit is decrement for is it 32. And use the multiplication sign and then type for 5 and divide for 9. And now just use the properly in the return statement. And in this insert, I'm define the class is a Celsius. That means is use the return instance with the converted temperature. Okay. And now create the object. So just going in this line of code and for simple and type is it 10. And is equal to properly type is a temperature. Dot apply is a from Fahrenheit is a 98.6. And next line here I'm print for in this input. So first of all I'll take the print function and in this inside I'm type is a 10. Dot apply in this Celsius. That means in this example it's completely creating and here and create method can also be used to factory method. And here you can see the create the class of the temperature has a class method for the from Fahrenheit that convert a Fahrenheit temperature to Celsius and return a new temperature instance with the converted value. This method is provide an alternative way to create object from different input format. Okay, so you can see here is done and now just properly select all and save this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here is properly show the temperature is the 37.0. That means it's properly create the different type of object for input format calling the temperature dot in this from this Fahrenheit and create a new temperature object with a Celsius values of 37.0. Okay. So I hope you proper understanding this tutorial topic. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi coders and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today we explore for the static methods and the static method decorator in Python's object-oriented programming language. So today I'm properly explain for what are static methods. Okay. So first of all, the static methods are the method that belong to a class rather than any particular instance. They are defined using the static method decorator and do not take self or class as their first parameter. And the static methods are used to perform the operations that do not modify the class or instance state, but are related to the class is conceptually. Okay. So in this session, I will create the first example for defining and using a static method. Okay. So you can see here I'm create the class name. So first I'm create the class name is a math utils. Okay. So I'm just type is a math for utils. So UTILS. Okay. And just when the next line and here I'm just type for the rate. And then type for you can see here is a static this method. Okay. And just when the next line I first create the function name use the add. And in the same set, first we declare the for the x variable, second the y variable. And now I'm use for in this the return statement and create the x and additional operator for while. And now I'll create attribute here. So first of all, the attribute is the variable is result. And defined here is a MaxHandWins dot apply in this add method. This insert I'm defined for the 77 and here it's a 21. Okay. And now just to print for in this input, so just to declare is the result variable. That means in this example properly defined, you can see here is a MaxHandWins class with a static method for in this add that simply adds two numbers. Since add does not need to access any class or instance data and is defined a static method and the utils dot in this add for the 77 to 21 to get the sum and show the output the value. So you can see here the properly create and now just I'm select all and set this code and just I am let me run this code now. So as you can see here the properly show the output is a 98. That means if the example is properly working. Okay, so I hope you understand it. And next topic I am creating and using the static method for utility functions. Okay, so here I'm create another example. So you can see first of all I'm remove in this example of code and create another class name is a temperature converter. Okay, so just I'm type of set temperature for is a converter. So converter and in the next line and define for is a at the rate and type is static this method. And now we get the function is def and then type is a the Celsius is properly typed as Celsius underscore is a 2 and underscore is a Fahrenheit. Okay, so Fahrenheit is height. Sorry, HEIT is the height, and this incident declare for in this Celsius. Okay, so Celsius. And now we use for is a return statement. And in this insert, first of all, I am for the Celsius and the multiplication sign for 9 and divide for 5. Okay, and use the class operator is a 32 is a temperature. And now I'm for the objects, you can see I'm type is a temp. Dot type is a Fahrenheit. So Fahrenheit and is equal to that is equal to the temperature converter. Dot is type of Celsius to Fahrenheit is in 25. Okay, and now I'm used for the print function and in this insert I'm print for is a temperature Fahrenheit. That means in this example for the static method are ideal for is a utility function that are related to the class but don't need to access or modify the class or instance attribute. And here I'm creating the temperature converter. The class has a static method for the Celsius to Fahrenheit to convert the Celsius to Fahrenheit. And calling for you can see the temperature converter dot Celsius to Fahrenheit. It's written the value is Fahrenheit is equipped of the outputs. Okay, so just is done and now just I'm prepared to select all and save this code and just let me run this code now. So click on this run button. So as you can see here the properly show the output is 77. Okay, so I hope you proper understanding in this simple example. So to this tutorial is completely done and here I'm properly creating the static method defined with the stat at the rate static method for decorator are used to operations that don't need access to class or instance data. And they are perfect for utility functions, validation check operation that logically belong to class but don't enter its state. Okay, so I hope you proper understanding this today's tutorial. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today we will explore for the two powerful concepts in the Python object-oriented programming like the method overloading and the method overriding. So first I'm explaining for here the introduction to method overloading. Okay. So first on here the method overloading. In many programming languages, you can define the multiple method and with the same name but different parameter. And however, the Python does not natively support for method overloading. Instead, you can achieve a similar effect using the default argument. Okay. So now let's see the example. And first of all, here I'm creating this the class. Okay, sorry, I'm just full form just typing the class. And in this event, I'm typing for the class name. Okay, so first I'm typing the math operation. Okay, so I'm typing for the math operation is the class name. And next is we can define for the function. So now we just type for the function is add method. So you can sort of generate for the self and now I'm typing for the variable of A. And secondly, variable B is equal to 0 and the C is equal to 0. Okay, is done. And now we use here use return statement for A, additional operator for B, return statement for A, additional operator for B and C. Okay, so you can see here is done. Just is not now, only use for its C. So now in this line, I'm defined for the variable is an object is not the math underscore for is O and K. Now properly type it's a math operation is defined for this function. And now properly type the print function, so now just see the output. So first I'm define the math operation dot use this add function. And this input is the value of 2. And second, I'm again use this print, and in this insert, I'm defined for the math op dot again use this add, and now use for the 2 and the 3 this done. And next line, I'm again use this print, and in this insert, properly type the math op dot apply in this add function, and this insert, I'm type the values 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you can see here this example, I'm defined it's a this add method just accept up to the 3 argument. And depending on the number of argument is provided, its function is performed different operation when add with this on 2 or 3 arguments. So now in this Python execute the same method but handle its case differently. So now just I'll see the output, so properly saving this code and also this press code in this run icon. So as you can see here, it is properly print the output for 259. That means is properly varies depending on the number of arguments. This method overloading allowing a single method to add up to different input. Okay, is done for is overloading. And next topic I'm explaining for is a method overriding. Okay. So now let's talk about the method overloading. This occurs when a subclass provides specific implementation of a method is already defined in the superclass. Okay. So now let's see the example. So you can see, first of all, I am removing this all code and create the new class. So now provide the class name is the animal. Okay. And next one here I'm defining the function name. This method is a sound. Just move the next line and here I'm type for it's a return statement and type for the message call. So here I'm type it's a some generic. Okay, so some generic sound. You can see you're understanding. And now here is another super class, so now just I'm type it's a dog. Okay, only type it's a dog. And this inside and is overriding for into the animal class. Okay. And now just on the next line, I'm going to define for the method is date and then type the sound, this one. And now we use for again this return statement and type of the message, it's the sound for bar. Okay. And now here the another class is defined for a state for in this the cat class. And this inside I'm again override for this animal class. Okay. And now just type the date and again define this function and use for the return statement for the generic sound for the cat. Okay. So it's done. And now I'm just create objects. So here I'm type of animals. because this wants more animal sounds. So now type for here in this animal in this function. And secondly, I'm defined for is the dog. Okay. And then third, I'm used for here is the cat. Okay. So I hope you're understanding, and now I'm applying for it properly in the for. So first of all, I'm type for here it's a animal in game type for in this animals. Okay. And now type for is a print function, and this inside first of all I'm defined for the animal dot for the method for is a sound. Okay. That means is a completely done, and in this example I'm create first of all here is the animal has a sound method that returns a generic sound, and both dog and in this cat class override the method to provide a specific sound. And when just iterate through the list of animals and call the sound method, and Python use the method defined in the subclass. Okay. So I hope you understand. It's completely done for my example. And now just see the output. Okay. So just click on in this run icon and just wait here, and as you can see, this properly show the output for some generic sound for bark and the mail. That means in this output is reflect the overridden methods, and its subclass provide its own unique implementation of the sound method, and demonstrating the power of method is overriding in the Python. Okay. So that's it for the tutorial, and here I'm properly explore for how method overriding and the is overloading and the overriding work in Python. And while the Python does not have the true method overloading, you can use default argument and to achieve a similar effect method overriding on the other hand. It's a key feature that allows a class to customize to replace method from their subclasses. Okay, so I hope you understand. Hi everyone, and welcome back to today's important on of the core concept of object-oriented programming like inheritance in the Python. So first of all, I'm explain for what is inheritance. Okay, so inheritance allow a class called the child class to inherit attributes and the method from another class known as the parent class. And here is to promote this code use and the make your code more modular and the maintainable. And you can see, just think of inheritance like a family tree, where a child inherits tries from a parent, and in programming this means the child class can use to extend the functionality of the parent class. Okay, so I hope you proper understanding for what is inheritance. Okay, so now in this session I'm used for the simple example, and I hope you properly understand. Okay, so here I'm create example for just where on class inherit from anchor. Okay, so now let's see the simple and the basic example. So first of all here, I'm just create a simple class, and this provide from the class name is the animal. Okay. And next step here, I'm just define the function thing, its space and the double dash, and then type for image. Okay. And here I'm create the attributes name is this type is a name. So now just the next one I'm going to type it's a self dot this time the attribute name is equal to this name. And now I'll create here the next line type another function name is the speak method. Okay. So you can see here to the method for speak. And just going and now I'm use for the return statement. And here I'm type for the formatted output. Okay. So you can see first of all I am calling just self dot is defined the attribute is a name. And also here types for makes a and okay. And now I create here the another first I'm create the parent class, and now I create here the child class. The child class is in dog. And this inside I'm declare for is a provide is a override for this animal for the parent class. Okay. I'm just going and now again type of the date and then calling for again in this speak method. And now type for your another is a properly type this return statement. And again I will create for the a formatted output. So just type for is self dot define for its name. and I'll type for it's a box. Okay. And now we create the object here. So you can see first of all I'm type the dog and is equal to again type for in this dog. Okay. And in this inside I'm type for the dog sound for speak is a body. Okay. And now I'm just print for in this input. So just I'm declare is calling for the dog and define for the method for speak. Okay. So you can see in this example, like here, the first the parent class is animal that has a double dash in it method to initialize the name. Okay. And here they speak in this method. And this the dog class inherit from the animal and override the speak method and to provide a more specific implementation. Okay, so it's done and now just I am save this code properly and let's see the output. Okay, second same press for in this run icon and just see the output for is a body marks. That means is properly create an intense instance of the dog class and call the speak method. And Python use the overridden method in the dog class. This demonstrates for how a child class can inherit and modify the behavior of its parent class. Okay, so I hope you people understanding for introduction to inheritance. Okay, so that's it for the today's tutorial, and here I'm properly explore and introduced the concept of inheritance in Python. And here so for how class can inherit and override method from parent classes. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding this today's tutorial. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Everyone and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today we explore for two key concepts in Python's object-oriented programming like single inheritance and the multiple inheritance. Okay. So first topic for here is what is the inheritance? So inheritance allow class to inherit properties and the method from another class, promoting code use and the modularity. And in Python, you can have the single or multiple inheritance. And now let's see the example. And here I'm create the single inheritance where a child class inherit from own parent class. Okay. So now let's see the in this example. So you can see first of all I'm create here is a class. So sorry, you can same type for is a class. So it's not now. Okay. So okay. So you can see first time create is a class. So just class name use here is a vehicle. Okay. And just create this clone. And in this next line, I'm type for the function name is a div and then type for double dash. It's create for in this in it. Okay. And now I'm just create for it's a just define for it's a self and now okay. So now define for here is a attribute like it's a brand and second one type for here it's a model. And now first of all type is a self dot it's defined the attribute is a brand. Sorry, its type is brand and is equal to again type in this brand. And next time type for just calling for it's a just type is a self dot use a model and is equal to again type in this model. Okay. And now create the method for so first time type the function is date and the method name used for here is the description. Okay. So it's done the description and just when the next and here I'm used for the return statement and this inside and type for the output message for. So first I'm calling for self dot declare it's a brand. Okay. And again I'm calling for in the self dot is type for it's a model. Okay. So it's done and now create for here is on class. So first enter the class name is a car is a one child class and this inside I'm declare for the parent class vehicle. Okay. And here I'm type the method for its voice. So it reverse, and then go in the next line and type for the return statement for return is 4. Okay. And now create for the object. So first time type the my car and is equal to calling for this car. And now just create the car description. So first of all, the car model is a Toyota, and sorry, is a brand, and the model for it's a Corolla. Okay. So you can see is great perfect. And now I use for here is a print function, and first time print my car dot use the description attribute. Sorry, is this method. And next time use for again it's a calling the my car dot apply is a was this method. Okay. So that means the students is a single inheritance is created completely done. And in this example, first of all, I'm create here the class is vehicles is a parent class with a constructor and a description method. And the car class just inherit from the vehicles and adds its own wheels method. Okay. So just I am saving this code and let me run this code now. So you can see just click on this run icon. I'm just wait here. So as you can see here, is it properly see the output for the car brand and the model for the Toyota Corolla. And here the voice is a 4. That means is properly create show the output for the car class inherit the description method from vehicle. And the verse method is unique to the car class, showing for the single inheritance allowing a child class to extend the functionality of the parent class. Okay, is done for the single inheritance. And next topic here in create is a multiple inheritance. Okay, so multiple inheritance, just create example for where a child class inherit from the more than one parent class. Okay. So now let's see the examples. You can see I'm just remove what in this author and create the new example. First the class name is a engine. Okay. And go in the next line and type for the function name just define for engine. So engine engine underscore use the type. Okay. And just going and here and use for the return and the type for it's a VH. Okay. And just going and here I'm used for the capital V. And when the next line I'm create the another class name used for here is a transmission. Okay. So it's type properly is a transmission. And here I'm define the function and then type it's a again transmission underscore it's a type. And it's going the next line and here I'm using the return statement for it's a this output for the automated. Okay, is automated. And next time print the another class is type for the class name is a sports car. Okay, sports car. And in this insert first I'm declare the engine class and second I'm declare for is a transmission class. Okay. And next step here I'm type for the again this date and then type for it properly the car type this method and now I'm defining calling the give the output for return statement and then in this insert I'm declare for the sports car. Okay. Sports car is done and now just see the output. So first of all I'm create the output function for the input. So first I'm type the object is a my sports car and is equal to calling for sports car. And now type for the output of just the print function in this inside. First time type the my sports car dot use the first engine type in this method. And second one type for again this print and in this inside first time declare the my sports car dot apply in this transmission type. And third time I'm using this use in this print function. This insert first time type the my sports car dot apply you can see here is a car type. Okay, that means it's properly created in the simple example and here I'm using example for it's a sports car class inherit from the both the engine and the transmission classes. This means it can use the methods from both parent class as well as define its own unique method. Okay. So you can see here the perfectly create my code, and now just I am select all and save this code, and let's see the output. Okay. So as you can see here is properly print for the V8, is the engine and the automatic, and also for the sports car. That means it's perfectly working. The sports car class is combined feature from both the engine and the transmission class, and demonstrating for how the multiple inheritance alloy class to inherit functionality from multiple sources, making it more versatile. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding this today's tutorial, and that's it here, and you properly create and explore. Hi everyone, and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today we explore an important concept in Python's like object-oriented programming, like for the method resolution order or MRO. So first to explain for what is MRO. So when dealing with the multiple inheritance in Python, you might well wonder how the Python determines which method to call when a method is defined in multiple parent classes. This is where the method resolution order or MRO comes into play. Okay. So in this topic, for this example, this tutorial I am used for the basic example, and now let's see the example for simple MRO with single inheritance, and where the MRO is straightforward with a single inheritance. So now let's see this example. Okay. So first we create the basic class. So you can see type the class name for A. Okay. And second one type for the function is if, and the function name is grade. And just I'm going to the next line, and here I'm type is the return statement for first time type is A. Okay, so type is hello from the character of A. Okay, and next line here I'm create the again declare for the class name for use the character of B, and in this inside I will override for the character of A. And now just I'm used for English, sorry, it's only used for this pass. And next one here I'm create the another class defined for the class name for C and override for the class of B. Okay. And now just I'm making type for in this pass. And now just I'm create the object. So first time the object is equal to C this function. And now create for the output print function. In this inside first of all declare the object dot is declare the function is a grade. And next time type for taking the print function, first time the character of C dot apply for its aims, you can see this one. Okay. So you can see here I'm create first here in this the class for the C is a subclass of B, and B is subclass for A, and the grade method is defined only in A. When I create instance of the C and the call for grade and Python follow to MRO to find the method. Okay. So now let's try see the output. So just I will save and just click on in this running. So as you can see here is a properly print. So first we print for the hello from A. That means in this output to show the Python is follow the MRO. We start from C and then move to A. And finally, in this A, where it's find the grade method, and in this the double dash MRO's attribute of a class reveals the entry or enter order showing the extract path for Python just follow. Okay. So I hope you're understanding. Okay. So next topic, next example here I'm create the multiple inheritance for MRO. And in this MRO, just work with a multiple inheritance where things can get a bit more complex. Okay. So here, see the example, and I hope you almost is properly understand. Okay. So now just I'm again remove in this code. So first I'm create the another class name for X. Okay. And type for X a div, the function name is a grade. And just go in the next line of code, and here I'm using the return statement for type for the output classes is a hello from X. Okay. And now bring the another class name for its a y, and then type for the function, the function step, and the type is again calling this method for grade. Okay, so you can see this grade and just renew this written statement and then type for its a hello from the character of y. Okay, and now create the class is a defined for the class for the z, and in this instance I'm defining it properly is x and the y. And now use for these the past this method. Okay, and next one here and create object here. So first time type the object is equal to type for in this z function, and use for the properly in this print function, and in this insert first time define the object dot use for this grade functions. And next time I'm making you this print, and in this insert I'm type for the dot and dash and use for the MR. That means in this for the example for in this the jet, okay, this jet inherit from both x and y, and the both of this parent class define a grade method, and the MRO determines the grade method will be called when create an instance of the jet. Okay, so you can see here is done, and now just I am properly saving this code and let's see the output. Okay, you can see click on this run icon. So as you can see here is the properly print for the hello from x. Okay, so that means in this output for the Python for MRO algorithm follow the order instance declared in the D class definition. Since it's from the x first, and the Python called the grade method from the x. And in this the MRO, so just going for this one. So in this the MRO, the output confirm the order showing the Python loop z, then x and the y. Okay. So that's it for the today's tutorial done. And here I'm properly explore the concept of method resolution order in Python. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding this today's tutorial. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today I'm create the polymorphism is a core concept in object oriented that allow object in different classes to treat these objects. Okay, so that means here I'm create for the simply explain the core concept for polymorphism and the in this method. Okay, so this topic I'm first of all explain and create the core concept of objective programming like the polymorphism. Okay, so now let's see for how polymorphism work in Python with and a simple example. So you can see here first of all I'm create a simple class. Okay, so in class name just type it's bar. And then in this next line, and first of all, that the function is a line. Okay, and just go in the next line, and here and use the return statement for type the message and just type it's a bird is flying. Okay, it's done. And now use for here is a base class. So you can see in this code, I'm just copy. Okay, and paste for here is a next to class use for here. Okay, and now just change it. So first one class name just change. So you can see here I'm change for the class name and use for the class name is a sparrow. Okay, so sparrow, and then in this inside I'm override for in this bird class. Okay, I'm just going use for the same method and change this one and just type for sparrow is flying. Okay, is done sparrow. And next time use for the another class just name for here is a ostrich. Okay, so ostrich, and then in the same time I'm defined for again the parent class for the bird. And now just I'm change for indeed the bird. So just I'm type for it's a ostrich. Okay. So sorry, it's type ostrich is flying. And now create for the another function. Just I'm create for here is a date and create this method for the make underscore it's a fly. And in this method, inside I'm defined for it's a simple it's a bird class. Okay. And going to next line and here I'm used for the print function and first of all this inside I'm type the bird dot apply in this fly this method. Okay. And now create for the object. So first I'm type for sparrow. So sparrow and is equal to again calling for this function. And next time I'm type for here the ostrich one is equal to type calling for the ostrich these functions. Okay. And now type for here the method calling for the make sound is a make fly and in this is inside and define the sparrow. And secondly I'm calling for again this make fly and this inside I'm type for the ostrich. Okay. So that's it. It's completely done for today's tutorial and in this topic. So you can see first of all here I'm create it's a the sparrow and the ostrich. This is the subclass of the bird and is implemented in the own version of the fly method. And the make fly functions take a bird object as argument and the call the fly method. Okay, and it's for the demonstrative polymorphism. So it's done and now just I am properly save this code and let's see the output. So as you can see here, the properly print the output for sparrow is flying and ostrich is flying. That means you can see the makeFly function works with the both sparrow and ostrich object and calling the correct fly method for each. Okay, so it's completely done this polymorphism. And now just I'm going for the next topic. And next topic we have create is a method overloading. Okay, so first I'm explain for what is method overloading. Sorry, overriding. So first of all, method overriding is a specific form of polymorphism, and it occurs when a subclass provides a specific implementation of a method that is already defined in the subclass. And this allows a subclass to modify or extend the behavior of the method. And now let's see the method overriding example. Okay. So you can see, first of all, I'm just going here and just simply update here. So just change this one and in this inside I'm type the class name like for the animal. Okay. And now use for the method for is a sound. So let's type the sound method. And print for the output. So just use the return statement and in this inside I'm type for sound generic animal sound. Okay. And now create for the class. You can see I'm just remove this one. And first of all, create another subclass for is a its type is a dog. And in this inside I'm declare for this animal. And use for the method is a sound. Okay. And just change this one and here I'm type for first the dog sound for is a bark. Okay. And next is you can create the another subclass create here. So now just name for the subclass is a cat class. Okay. So cat and then override for in this animal class. And now just use for the make method and the sound method just type it's a sound. And change this one and here I'm just create for the cat sound for it's okay. Okay. And now create for the function name is just like for it's a make sound. Okay, and in this insert I'm defined for the animal. So just type it's a animal. And change this one and first of all here I'm calling for the animal dot use for here it's a sound function. And just going this next line and create for the object here. So you can say remove in this code. And first of all here I'm type it's a dog and is equal to again type this dog. And its histogram type for the cat and is equal to create the cat method just following. And first now I'm used for the method. So first on the make sound and in this inside I'll define the dog class. So declare in this dog class. A second one type for again the make sound and define for here in the cat class. Okay. So that means in this example stand and draw and first of all create it's a. So you can see the animal class has a method for is a sound. And both for the dog and the cat class override the method sound method to provide a specific implementation. And you can see that the make sound function demonstrate for the method overriding word. Okay. So you can see here is it done and now just I am save this code and let me run this code now. So as you can see here is properly see the output for bark and the mail. That means in this the make sound this function is properly called the dog object which is called the sound method defined for the dog class and similarly when call a cat object and see the output. So that means it's properly working the overriding the subclass method override the behavior of the superclass method. Okay. So I hope you're understanding this today's tutorial. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's new tutorial topic. So today I'm exploring here an essential concept in object-oriented programming like encapsulation in Python. So first of all, I'm explaining for is what is encapsulation. Okay. So first of all, the encapsulation is one of the four fundamental concepts of object-oriented programming. And it refers to the bounding of data and the method that operate on the data within a single unit or class. And this hides the internal state of the object and only expose a control interface in interacting with it. And you can see, just understand, for the encapsulation helps to protect the internal state of an object from unintended interference and the misuse by restricting direct access to some of its components. Okay. And let's see the example for is encapsulation with private attributes. And in this example that demonstrate for encapsulation using the private attributes. So now let's see. So in this particular inside, first and create the class. The class name will be for the most uses is a common name for it's the this daily uses the here the real life example for it's a bank account. Okay, so real world example is type is a bank account. And then here create the function is space double dash hyphen in this image. And set for the attribute is the balance. Now we will type for the cell dot double dash and type is a balance and is equal to again type for the balance is a query for the private attribute. And next one here create the another function and the set for the attribute just method for is a deposit. Okay. And in the same side and type for the attribute name is a amount. Okay. And use for the if statement. This inside and first just type is a. You can see it's not now here. So in this line. So its type for the amount is greater than or 0. And next line here type it's a self dot double dash balance plus equal to column for declare this amount. Now create another function for the date and then type for it's a withdraw. So is proper is then properly. And in this inside, I'm creating another attribute name is the amount. Okay. And just type for the if and then calling for this amount and less than equal to type for the self dot double dash balance. Next line here I'm type for is a properly self dot double dash balance for decrement equal to for in this amount. Okay. And now create another function for the date and then type for the get underscore it's a balance for the attribute. And just hold the next line and here I'm create is a return. So just type for it's a return statement and in this inside I'm type with the self dot this balance. Okay, it's done. And now create for the object it's properly. So first of all I am type it's a account and is equal to create the class calling the bank account. So here I'm type just the amount for here it's a 10,000. Okay. And now I'm calling for this attribute for the account dot percent of the deposit for here is a just on type is a 5,000. Sorry, is a 5,000. And I'm again type for this calling the attribute for the account dot use for in this withdraw. And this inside I'm just type use for it's a 300. Okay. And I'll just type for the output function is print and this inside I'm just calling for the account dot apply for in this get balance this method. And you can see it's completely done this example. So in this example, first of all, I'm create here the bank account. The class encapsulates this the balance. Balance attribute by making it the private, meaning it can't be accessed directly from the outside class. And the classes provide is a public methods like for is a deposit, then withdraw, and also for here it's a get balance. Okay, and to interact with the balance securely. So you can see here is a create for the basic encapsulation example. And now just I'm saving this code and just let's see the output in the console. Okay. So as you can see here is the properly show the output for is it 12,000. That means just calling for here is a deposit and a withdraw method. They update the balance internally and you can see here the get balance. So you can see the get balance method reveals the updated balance and try to access the balance directly. Python raise an attribute error and highlighting the protective nature of encapsulation. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding this tutorial topic. So that's it. And here I properly explore the concept of encapsulation in Python and showing for the private attributes and used to protect and then manage access to an object internal state. Okay. So I hope you people understanding this tutorial topic. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's tutorial topic. So today we explore the different type of attributes in Python for object-oriented programming like public, protected and the private attributes. Okay. So first of all, understanding the attribute access. Okay. So the Python attributes can have different access level and is determined for how and where they can be accessed within a program. And its access level are the public, protected, and the private. Public means for accessible from anywhere. Protected for accessible within the class and its subclass. And lastly, for the private is accessible only within the class. So in this tutorial topic, first of all, I am explaining for the public and the protected attribute and use for the example. So you can see here I properly use the public and the protected attributes just properly try and let's see the output. Okay, sorry, it's in this example. So first I'll create the example for use the public and the protected attribute. So first of all, here and for the class name, it's a employee. It's a real world example. And then type for the function, type for double dash init. So in this inside set for the attribute, so first time type the attribute, first attribute is the name, and secondly for the salary. And now first of all type is the self dot define the attribute is name and is equal to name. Is a public attribute. And next time type for the self dot is type for the underscore, it's a salary is equal to that the salary is a protected attribute. Okay. And now we create the function for the date and then type for the method name, it's a display. And just going here and use the return statement. So first of all type the existing format, first and define it's a name. And for this curly brackets in this insert type for define for the same attribute. And secondly here I'm type for the salary. So as like the salary, and create for is a clone and then type for the self dot is underscore in this salary. Okay, is it done? And now I'm create for the another class name, it's a manager. Okay, it's a manager and in this insert I'm declare it properly in this the employee for the class. This is the parent class. And type for the tape and double dash and then type for in this init. So in this insert I'm again declare for here it's the name attribute, then salary attribute, and also here is the department attributes. And now I'm used for is a super method. The super functions then type is double dash in this again init and the attribute set for the name and the salary. And now I'll create for the public attributes. So you can see first of all type for is a public attribute now. So you can see first of all I'm typing the self dot type it's a department and is equal to again type for in this department. It's like create the properly the public attribute. Okay. And now we create another function that method for the attribute name is the display underscore it's a manager. Okay. And now use for the return statement. So in this inside I create a formatted output. So now in type it's saying manager name. Okay. Sorry, it's not now. Okay. Properly type for the manager name field and create this curly brackets in this insert type for the self dot define this name attribute. And next time type it's a department. Okay. So department and create this curly brackets and type for the self dot it's a department. And next time type for here is a salary attribute. And now I am just type for the self dot it's a underscore. And you can see here I'm type for it properly the salary field. Okay. So it's a salary. I'm just type is properly. You can see here I'm used for the salary and then it's a salary. So is it perfect? And the next line of code in here I'm create object. So first of all I'm type for the object is the EMP. Sorry, is not now here. Okay, so is it sorry. Okay, so is it perfect? And then type for EMP and is equal to type for here it's the employee. And the employee name for Zohan and the Zohan salary for here is a 50,000. And the manager, so type the short form is NG or N is equal to the full form is the manager and the manager name and set for here is a Alice And the manager salary for here is a 80,000. Okay, and the manager is a department for HR. Okay, it's done. And now I'm used for the print function, and in this int tag, first of all, I have the object for emp and the use for in this display function. And again uses for this print and then type it's a manager dot use for here is a display manager. Okay, it's create the manager information show. And now accessing the attributes for directly. So first of all, type the print, and in this insert I'm type for the emp dot type for it's a name. And secondly, I'm print for and then type for it's a manager dot type the underscore. This is a salary. Okay. So you can see here is a properly created. And that means in this example is properly working. So just I'm properly say this one. And in this example, I'm use the public attributes, meaning can access directly what the annual and the salary and what the other and the protected attribute indicating. Okay. So now just I'm saving this code and just I am let me run this code now. So the student, as you can see here, it is properly show the output. So first is the print the employee name for the Sohan and the salary for 50,000. And the manager name for Alice and the department for HR and the salary for 80,000. Okay, so you can see here is the properly direct printed for the output. So you can see here the another topic for it's a system type with the private attributes. So private attributes which are only accessible within the class. It's a similar tool, so you can see easily create the private attribute. So you can see here just create the simple class, and here in this the class will be similar for the private class, and I hope you properly try and completely create for your project. Okay, so that's it for the today's tutorial topic, and today properly explore the public, protected and the private attributes in Python. So I hope you properly understanding this today's tutorial. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone, and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today I'm properly explore for how to implement abstraction in Python using for the abstract base classes or ABCS. And in this example I'm properly explain. So first of all, I am explain for what is abstraction and ABCS. So first of all, the abstraction in object-oriented programming is the concept of hiding the complex implementation details and showing only the essential feature of an object. And in Python, for abstraction is achieved using the abstraction-based classes or ABCS. And in this tutorial's topic, I create an abstract-based class in a class that cannot be initialized on its own. Instead, it provides a blueprint for other classes to inherit and implement for specific methods. Okay. So you can see first of all here I'm defining and implementing the abstract for the A, B, C and implementing it. And here I'm using example just define an abstract base class for geometric shape and then implement in a concrete class. Okay. So now let's see. So you can see first of all I'm just going here and then import for the package. So first of all I'm type it's a from for A, B, C. And then import for here is this ABC and then type for is a abstract method. Okay, and now I'm properly put the class name used for the shape is done, and in this inside I'm declare for in this ABC the abstract base class. And now I'm just type for the abstract just override, so you can just type the @ and it's type for the abstract method. Okay, and in this line I'm type for the date and the function with method name just like a area. And then going the next step, and here I'm type for is a pass this method. And next time again just overwrite for is type for is abstract method, and then type for the another function for the date, and then type is a parameter. So is a type parameter. Okay, is parameter, and then going and here I'm again use in this pass. So it's almost done, and now I'm create for the another class. So first I create the shape class, and now I create for the another class name is a rectangle. Okay, so the rectangle, and in this just type for it's a shape, and the string one, and then type is a date double dash in it this cell. And here I'm set for the thread attribute. So first I'm type is the width, and now the type for the height. Okay. And going the next line, and first of all, we have to type the self dot is type the width. So width is equality. Again, use in this width. And now I'm type for the self dot is type for is a height, and is equal to type for again in this height. And create for the function is a depth, the method calling for the area. Sorry. So it will type the depth, and you can see here I'm type for the area, and in this instance I'm type for define the depth, the self, and use for the properly the return statement, and in this instance I'm type the self dot use for the width and the multiplication sign, and then type for the self dot define for in this height in this height attributes. Okay, so first of all here I'm defining for the self that width is equal to width, and here I'm not width, and here I'm set for it's a height. Height is equal to height, and then going again here, and then type of self dot is properly defining this height. And now create another method this depth, and then type it's a parameter. And now just do the return statement. As a type full form the return 2 and the multiplication sign, and then in this internet type the self dot set for the width and the plus operator, and again use for the self dot for height. Okay, and so code for almost done, and now just create the object. Okay, so we can see first of all I'm type itself to start from the right, and is equal to type for it's a rectangle, and this insert first of set down this value for 5 and 10, and use for the print function. So in this input I'm type for the output. So first of all we am type for the area of the rectangle. Okay, and first of all I'm create the calling the rect dot the first method for the area. Okay, and second I'm again use for in this print, and this inside I'm type for here it's a parameter. Okay, so in this the parameter of the rectangle. Okay, and the script is clone, and you can see. So first of all I'm calling for in this the method for the rect, and also define in this parameter. Okay, that means this proper I'm define an abstract class for the first one. It's the shape with a two abstract methods like here is the area and the parameter. And this method can define using for your is properly in this that rate this abstract method decorator with force and a subclass to implement them. And the next line for here is the another class for the rectangle class, then inherit from the shape and provide for the concrete implementation for the both methods. Okay, so I hope you're understanding in this tutorial's topic. And now just save and just let me run this code now and see the output. So just click on this run icon. So you can see here the properly print the output for the area of rectangle 15 and the parameter of rectangle for the 30. That means it's properly create an instance of the rectangle and call the area and the parameter method and output just reflect the correct calculations based on rectangle dimensions. And notice that you can catch its instance the shape is directly because it's an abstract class. It's meant to be inherited and implemented. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding this tutorial. So that's it. And if you want to properly explore and how to use the abstract-based classes in Python to implement for the abstractions. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding this tutorial topic. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's tutorial. And today we will explore for the two fundamental concepts in object-oriented programming in Python, like encapsulation and abstraction. So now let's get started. So first of all, I'm simply overview of encapsulation and abstraction for both. So first of all, I'll quickly define an encapsulation and abstraction. So encapsulation is a practice of bounding data and method that operate on the data within a single unit, typically a class. And while is controlling access to the data and abstraction, on the other hand, it's about for hiding complex implementation details for expressing only the necessary part of the object. So today, this tutorial first will create the encapsulation, and I hope you proper understand. So now this is starting and create the first is the class. So class name used for it's again, it's the bank account. Okay. And now this create the function is div and then type a double dash is in it. So first time type the attribute, it's the owner. Okay. So let's type the owner and also here type is the balance is equal to 0. And next line I'm just define the self dot is type the owner and is equal to type for again for in this owner. And next line here I'm type for is a self dot is double dash and then type for is that which is a balance and is equal to type this balance. In this line this means for the create a private attribute. And next step here I'm type for another function is type and the method for is a deposit and this inside and just declare the attribute is the amount. Okay. And here I'm used for the if statement and then type for is the amount is greater than 0. And now just go in the next line of code. So you can see here I am just not used for this parenthesis and only directly create now. Okay. So here I'm used for in this the code. And first of all here I'm typing the self dot is defined for in this balance is plus equal for declare in this amount. Okay. And next thing I'm used for the print function. So first of all in this inside I'm type for the a formatted. So is it deposited? So deposited and just create define the amount. And also here I'm type for it's a new balance. Okay. So new balance and then again type for the self dot and then double dash in this balance. It's perfectly defined. And now just to create the another function name, just type is the def and the name is a withdraw. Okay. So withdraw and this inside I'm just say for the another attribute it's the amount. Okay. It's type for the amount. And going for the next step and here I'm type the if statement for 0 is greater than is greater than for the amount again is equal to type for is this then is properly typed now So you can see here I'm type. So re is a, this one is a perfect, and then type is a self dot use for this balance. Okay. And next line I'm again calling for the self dot in this balance is decrement is equal to calling for in this amount this mesh. Okay. And now I'm use for again this print function, and in this inside, first of all I'll type for the masses for it's like it's a withdrawal, and this inside I'm again type for is the amount, and type for it's a new balance. So new balance, and then calling for again is a self dot underscore in this balance. Okay, it's done. And now in this statement is checking for just create the this else statement, and this inside I'm type for insufficient functions just create here. So in then insufficient function is done, and then function for invalid amount. Okay. Okay, so type for the valid amount. It's a okay, so almost is done for my code. And now in this next line code I'm create the object. Okay. So you can see here then create another function for the date, and then type for it's a get underscore it's a balance, and then type for the self, and also going and use for here it's a return statement, sorry. Let's type for the return, and in the same thing type for the self dot double dash in this balance. And now just create for the attribute. So here I'm type is a account and is equal to the class is a bank account, and in this inside and the account username for is a just and type is a Jenny, and just use for the bank account you're in use for the amount is a 60,000. Okay. And next I'm just going this next line of code, and you can see here I'm type it's a account dot is type for the deposit. So deposit for here is a just use for here is a 40,000. Okay. And next I'm type for is a account dot use for the another method for the withdraw. So withdraw for here is a 20,000. And now just use the print functions in this incident type for the account dot apply for here is a get balance. That means is properly create the bank account with the private attribute for the balance, and we store the account balance, and this attribute is only accessible within the class, ensuring that it can't be modified directly from the others outside. Okay. And also in create you can see is a deposit and a withdraw, and the get balance method is properly working. So you can see here and create is a clone, it's a perfect. And now just I am saving this all code, and just I am letting me run this code. Okay. So as you can see here, it is properly print for the output for the deposit for the 40,000, and the new balance for here this one, and the withdrawal for the 20,000, and the new balance for the 80,000. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding in this the real world example for the encapsulation. And next topic here is the abstraction with the abstract class. And you can see here I'm create an abstract class employee that define the method for calculating salaries, and then implement this method is a concrete class is the full-time employee. Okay, so now just remove one and create this new example. You can see just remove this one. And first of all here I'm define for it's a abstraction. So just like first one type is from, and then A, B, C, and then import for the abstraction class. So A, B, C, and then type for is the abstract method. And now so we click for the class name used for the employee. So this incident type for is A, B, C. Okay. It's not correct. So here mistakenly this type. Okay, this one is the perfect. And here employee this clone understand type for it's in the functional state double dash in this image and sets the attribute for only the name. Okay, and we type for the self dot its say name is equal to this name. And now I am first type for is a abstract method and then type for the def is a calculate salary. The function just underscore is a salary and then type for this cell. And now the student type for will pass this parameter. And here include the another class name is a full-time employee. So full-time employee, sorry, time employee. Okay, and in this case, I'm taking the first the parent class is employee. And here I'm type for is the date and then double dash type for in this init. And in this inside, I'm just define the first time type it's the name attribute. Second is set for here the salary attribute. And now I'm use for it's a super this method and use for dot double dash init. So in this inside, I'm type for the attribute name is a name. And now this being used for the self dot the another attribute. It's not now. So you can see here I'm type it's a self dot use for is a salary and again type for in this salary. Okay. And next is to build another function for date and then calling for you can see the calculate salary and use for the return statement properly type the self dot in the salary functions. Okay. And now I create for the simple object for EMP is equal to declare for is a full-time employee. So employee information says so first time for the employee name is a Bobby and the Bobby salary for is a 40,000. Okay. And next thing is for here the print function. So just to print the output. So first of all the type is a just I am type is properly here is a salary of and create this curly brackets inside and type for the EMP dot define in this name attribute and create this clone and it will just use for the EMP dot is type for it's a it just type a calculate salary. This one is perfect. That means it's completely uncreate example for in this the employee is an abstract class with an abstract method for the calculate salary. This method does not have an implementation in the employee class. It's a left for the subclass to implement the full-time employee inherit from the employee. And it's provide a concrete implementation of the calculate salary method. Okay, so you can see it done perfectly. And now just select all and save and let's see the output. So just click on in this one. So I'm catch for the simple error. So now just on line. Okay, so first line. So I'm properly defined for the abstract implement for in this method and now just properly create here. Okay. So now I'm just again check. Okay, so this one is perfect. Now just properly save and just run this code now. So as you can see here, the properly see the output for the salary of Bobby is a 40,000. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding the student's tutorial and we are in create and explore the practical example of encapsulation and abstraction in Python. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding the today's tutorial topic. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's another tutorial. So today I'm explaining for the magic method and operator overloading in Python for object-oriented programming. Okay. So in this session, I properly explore for the magic method gives the Python classes their special power and allow us to customize the operator like class or the addition and the subtraction and more. Okay. So first of all, I'm explaining what are the magic method. So magic method is also as the danger method short for double underscore. Our special method is a Python that is start and then with double underscore. And this method is allow us to define for how object of our custom classes behave with building its Python operations. Okay. So in this session, first of all, I'm implementing for the underscore string, again underscore for string representation. So now let's create. So you can see here I'm create for the class name just to use for the book. Okay. And now I'll create for the function and then the double underscore is init. Okay. And now just type the attributes. So first of all, I'm type the title. And second, I'm type for here it's an author. I'm just doing the next one. And first of all, I'm type the self dot that is the title and is equal to again declare this title. And next time type the self dot it's type for the global author and is equal to again this author. Okay, the simple program is almost done. Now this I'm again defined by the another function and now I'm apply it properly the string. And here I'm type for this return type statement and here I'm used for the F formatted output. So first of all I'm type for the self dot use the title. Okay, and now I'm also for the by again just calling for the self dot is calling in this author. Okay, so you can see here it's almost done and now just I'm creating an object. So you can see first I'm type the book one and it's equal to the class name is a book. And in this inside, first of all, I'm year just type for the year is a 1984 century, and the book title is author for is a there is Orwell, there is Orwell. Just I'm type for it in here. So okay, so is a Orwell. Okay, so you can see here too. Now just I'm use for the print function and print for in this object for the book one. Okay. That means in this example, first of all, here I'm defining in this the book and this class used for the string method. And this method is called when used for in this print function and on an object of the classes instead of printing a default memory address. And it's print for the message. Okay. So it's a print the custom string representation of the book. And now just I'm saving this code and just let me and then let's just see the result. So you can see here the first is a print for the book title for the 1984 century and the author is by George Orwell. Okay, so I hope you understanding. It's supposed to create the magic implementing the string for the string representation. And now just I'm going to go in for the second example. And here I'm create is overloading the class for additional operators. Okay. So you can properly click and now just select remove for in this all code. And here first create the new class name is A. So first one with the capital letter, it's a vector. And now I'm first to create here the function. So with the function name, just enter double underscore and then type it in this init. And now create for the attribute for x and y. Okay. And now I'm just going to next line and just declare for this self dot the variable x is equal to x. And second one again type for self dot y and is equal to y. Okay. And now create for here the function just enter for the div and double dash use for the add methods. Okay. And now I'm use for the return statement and then type for it's the vector. Okay. And also first of all I'm type for self dot type for the x and the class operator and type for other dot the x and now I'm making for the same rules just follow here and then class operator and then type for other dot y. Okay. That means is almost is just run for my code. And here I'm defined for the string. Okay. and use for again the return statement, and in this inside. Okay, so first time type is double quotations, and in this inside I'm type for pixel vector and output masses for vector, and then type the parentheses. Okay, starting and the closing. And in this inside I'm create the curly brackets. So first time type is self dot x, and again created for is the self, just calling for here the y attribute. Okay, you can see here done, and now just create here is creating the two vectors. So first of all I'm type with the v1 and is equal to type for in this vector, and this time set for the value is 2 and 3. And second and create the vector v is equal to 2 and create the vector, and now just set the value is 4 and 5. Okay. And now we build the properly the additional operator. So v3 is equal to v1 and additional operator for v2. Okay. And now just print for in this v3. So its start is perfect. Okay. So that means in the simple example here I'm first of all create in the vector class that represent a 2D vector. And here is overloaded for, you can see here the class operator by defining here in the add method, which allow us to add the two vector together. And the method is written the new vector object with the sum of the corresponding components. Okay, you can see done is completely, and now just I'm saving this code and let me run this code now. Okay. So as you can see here, the result for the vector is 6 and 8. That means here I'm perfectly add for v1, v2, and the add method is called, and the result is new vector with the summed components. Okay. So that's it for the today's tutorial, and here I'm properly create this example. So in this session, I'm create the magic method in Python, give you the power to make your class a more initiative and the natural previews. Okay. So I hope you properly creating in this example. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Hi everyone, and welcome back to this today's tutorial on creating custom operators and generators in Python's object-oriented programming. So today I'm properly learn for how to design our own iterators and the generator to control the iteration process more flexible. So first of all, we are explaining for what are iterators and the generators. Okay. The first one, iterators are objects that allow you to traverse through a collections on element at a time using methods like the iterator method and the next method. And next one for the generators, on the other hand, are a simple way to create iterators using the void keyword, making them powerful tools for creating custom sequence. This session I create the first example is creating a custom iterator. So now let's see the example. Okay. So you can see here I first create the class name is a countdown. Okay. So the countdown, and just create this column here and define the function as date, and then type for double dash init. Sorry, it's not. So I'm just typing the double dash in this init. And then in this inside, first of all, I'm also generate this self. And now this will type for it is start these attributes. And now first I'm calling this self dot is start and is equal to again calling for in this start this method. And next one create another just type for the method. First one is a iterator, and then type for the return statement for simple self. Okay. And next time create another function for def and use for it's the next this method. And now here use for is the if statement. So just type for the self dot use the current method is greater than equal to 0. And now one use for here is a raise method. This is statement, and then type for is a stop iterations. Okay, so is it perfect? And just just go in the next line of code, and here I'm type of else statement, and just again create the self dot apply for is in this the current So as a current method and as decrement is equal to 1. And next statement used for the return statement and properly type is a self dot apply for in the current method. Okay, so you can see the current and the plus 4 is the increment for 1. Okay, and now just I'm using the properly the iterator, so you can see I'm calling for here is the countdown. So I'm proper just type is a count, sorry, is a just down and is equal to and properly calling the class name is a countdown. It's in the value of 5. Okay. And now I'm used for the for loop and custom type. It's a number in the countdown. Okay. And now just use the print function. And in this incident print for this number. Okay. So that means in the simple example is properly create here is a countdown class that acts as a custom iterator. You can see the iterator first one and the second. The first method return the iterator object itself. And indeed the next for the second method is defined what each iterator returns. And when the countdown reaches for the 0, the iteration is stopped. Okay. So you can see here is done for this code. And now just I am properly saving this code and just let me run this code now. Okay. So just click on this run icon. And you can see here I fetch for the simple error. So now just fix it and just I'm checking for again in this code. Okay. So first time type is iterator start. Okay. And just going this self for iterator and the next. So is it perfect now? Almost is perfect. And this is a statement. Okay. And then create the iterator for 1 and next time create for here. Okay, so now just I am perfect now here and just I'm again for select all and set this code now and just I'm click on in this run again. So as you can see here is a properly print output for first is the print iterator for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's a countdown. So I hope you proper understanding in the simple example. Okay. And next example I'm create for is properly just type for generating is it creating a generator functions. Okay. So now let's see this example. Okay. So you can see first of all I'm removing this output and create the another function for the date and the function name is a Fibonacci. Okay. So Fibonacci, sorry. Is Fibonacci and then define for the in. Okay. And now just I'm type for the variable of A and secondly the variable of B is equal to 0, the value of 1. And now I'm used for here the for loop and then print this area underscore in and then type for it's a range and then range instead of declare for in this in variable. And this time type for is a while, so is a while for A and just when the next line of code and first time type for the variable of A and the B and is equal to type for B and A and additional operator for B. Okay, that means it then now just I'm using for the generator. So you can see the next line of code and first of all here I'm type is A. If IB is the short form to Fibonacci and the perfectly calling in this one. And inserted the value is 7. And now just I'm again use the for loop for number in FIB. Okay, and now use for the print function and print for this now. That means it's completely create a generator function that provides the Fibonacci number and in this while keyword allow us to return a value and of course the function's execution, resuming when the next value in the requested. This makes it easy to generate a sequence of Fibonacci number on the fly. Okay. So then now just I'm saving this code properly and just let me run this code. Okay. So you can see here the properly see the output for 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. That means in this is time the generator is called In its UL, the next Fibonacci number and the function state is saved between the form, and making the iteration process both memory efficient and straightforward. Okay, so I hope you properly understanding this today's tutorial. And here I'm properly show the output. So here I'm creating the custom iterator and the generators in Python just to give you greater control over the iteration process and allow you to generate the sequence of the value in a clean and efficient way. And either you can next need complex iterator or simple generators. The Python or PP's capabilities have it covered. Okay. I hope you enjoying in this session. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's new tutorial on composition between the inheritance in Python object-oriented programming. This is the fundamental way to design the relationships between classes and each with its own strength and use case and children explore the both and the clean example. And now I'm properly create in this show and just output show in the console. So you can see first of all I'm explain and first I'm create just explain the what is inheritance. Okay. So inheritance allow a new class to inherit attributes in the method from an existing class. And this promote the code use and they create a hierarchy of classes. And let's start with an example where use the inheritance to create a specialized class. Okay. So you can see the example. And first of all, I'm perfectly create the inheritance. So here, first of all, define the class name. It's an animal. Okay. And just create the next line. And here I'm type for the function is a. And just go in the next line. And here I'm define for the function is date. And then type for double dash in this init. Okay. And set for the attributes for is the name. And just in the next line and first one got declare for the self dot is a name attribute and then type for in this name. And now I'm create for the method. So just type for the function is date and the method for it's a speak method. Okay. And now just go in this next line and here I'm used for the return statement and type for the a formatted output. So you can see first of all I'm type the self dot declare in this name variable. And then type for it's a makes a sound. Okay. And just go in the next line and here I'm create the animal class. It's the child class of the base class name is a dog. Okay. And this incident override for in this animal class. So next I'm use for the function for date and then type for is a speak method. Okay. And now just in use for here is a return statement and type for the int and double quotations inside and type for it's a self dot define the name variables and is a name attribute is the dog sound is a birds. Okay. And now the next line and create the object using the classes. So first we type the dog and is equal to again type for in this dog class and this time type for the dog name. Okay. So the dog name is a Barbie. Okay. And now just I'm print for in this dog method. So first I'm going to declare the dog and declare the method for in speak. Okay. So that means in this simple example is properly done. And here in first is create the class name is animal class with the method for in this speak. The dog class inherit from the animal and override the speak method in this way. Indeed, the dog has its unique behavior while still retaining the basic structure from the animal. Okay. So now let's see the output. So you can simply click on in this run icon. So as you can see here, it properly show the output for body birds. That means it's properly create an instance of dog and call the speak. It use the overridden method demonstrating for how inheritance allow us to open existing code. Okay. And now just on the next topic, I'm going to just explain first the what is composition. Okay. So composition on the other hand involving the building classes using other class and components. And here I'm type for you can see here And this promotes the flexibility and makes it easier to change the reuse part of your code. So now let's see the example. So you can see here and create another new example and just remove this one. And first of all, I'll just remove this all code. And here, create another new class name is say engine. Okay, it's done. And now just create for the function for the date and then type for the start method. Okay. So in this is itself, I'm just going this next and use for the return statement. And the type for the method just like it's the engine for starts. Okay, so stay here, it starts. And oh sorry, just okay. So now create for is a only for the double quotations inside. Okay, so just click on. Okay, it's perfect. And now just go in the next line of code and here I'll create the another class. So first of all, create the class name. It's a car in this class. Okay, and now we'll create the function is div and then double dash and type for in this the image. Okay, and create this type for the attribute for its a model. Okay, and let's go in the next line of code and here first of all type for the self dot type is a model. Okay, and is equal to type is properly the model. And now we can type of the self dot is type the engine engine and is equal to again type for this engine. And in this line, it means for this line is a composition. Okay. And now we create the function for the attributes or the method is start. First is type the start. And just go in the next line of code and here I will use the properly the return statement and type for the a formatted output. So you can say first of all type the curly brackets inside and type for the self dot first is define the model. Okay. Now just create clone and just again use this for the self dot type in this engine method and also type in the start method. Okay, so almost done. And now just when we are using the classes, so first enter the curve and the class first class is the second the curve. And now just set for information. So first enter the curve is the model is it okay. And just go in the next line and use the print function and just print first enter the curve. Curve to start. Okay, so is it perfect? And you can see here if the today's topic is completely done. And you can see here in the example like the curve class does not inherit from the engine, but instead it include an instance of the engine as a component, and the curve class can use the functionality of the engine without being the tied to its hierarchy. Okay, is it done my format? It's simple code and now it's based properly I am just select all consider. Okay, and now just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, the properly show the output for the model is the chart and then the register. That means in this the curve object and the call start method is internally using engine object to perform its operation and showing for how composition allow for more modular and flexible designs. Okay. So now that's it for the today's tutorial. And we are properly use the inheritance and when should you use the composition. Inheritance is the best for a clear is the relationships, whereas the class should extend the functionality of the parent class. And the composition is better when you want to build complex object out of the simpler ones and promoting for in this the flexibility and the easier maintenance. Okay. So I hope you properly understanding this tutorial topic. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to today's another new tutorial topic. So today I'm explaining for the code organization and the modular design in Python for object-oriented programming. And here is writing the clean, maintainable and the scalable code. Start with how they organize your code into module and the package. So today I'm probably explore for how to structure your pattern project and the demo step. So first of all here explain the importance of the modular design. Okay. So modular design is the practice of breaking down your code into the smaller, independent modules that can be used and maintained separately. And this approach is improve code readability, making testing easier and enhance the collaboration in large practice examples. So first of all, here I'm create organizing code and the module. So you can see first of all here I'm create for it's a that code is a new two file. Okay. So first of all, I'm just going for and right click here. So I'm create for is a new Python file. Okay. And this type for is a math underscore is operations pi and use for the dot is a pi for the Python extension. Okay, it's done is create another class. And in this inside I create for the class for is a calculator. Okay, calculator. And now just in the next line and here I'm define for the function is add method. Okay. And in this inside, first of all, I'm defined the already is defined the self and then type for the variable of A and the B. And just in the next line and here I'm use the properly the return statement A and additional operator for B. And next line here I'm create for the another method for is date and then type for is a subtract. Okay. And in this inside is auto created for the self and then variable of A and the B. And now here I'm used for either proper the return statement and type for here is A and then subtraction for B. Okay. So you can see here is it perfectly done. And now I'll create for the another file. So just I'm just mouse right set press and you can see create the Python file name. It's a utils. So TILS utils dot in this Python. Okay. And now here I'm create for the another div. So you can see here I'm simply define for the div and then type for the function name is a grid. And in this incident type for it's say the name attributes and the series for the proper illustrator statement and then type for the if formatted output. So here I'm type for the message for hello and type for is a curly brackets inside define for is a name attributes. Okay. So you can see here is perfectly done. And now just I'm going for into the main function inside. Okay, it's a Python main function. And in this inside, first of all, I am just import for the file. So first of all, I'm typing the from, define the math operations, import for here it's a calculator. Okay. And again type the prompts and then type for utils and import for the function name is a grade. Okay. It's done. And now just I'm just short from the calculator is a CLC and is equal to calling for the calculator this class. And now I'm print for the output. Okay. So first of all, I'm used for the print function and in this inside of the grade for the name is a nobody. Okay. And just go in the next line and use the again this print function. So in this inside, first of all, I'm type for the result is addition result. Okay. So it's properly type the addition result. And now I am first is calling the C calculation. The short form is cal C dot apply into the add method. So insert it for the value 6 and 9. Okay. And also here I'm again use this print function and in this inside I'm type for the subtraction. So it's perfect is subtractions. And now I am just call for the cal C dot type for is subtract and inserted for the value is a 10 and 4. Okay. That means in this completely create my code and you can see here I'm organized for the code into the two module. First on the math operation dot py and the second for utils. So you can see the math operation py for the mathematical operator and the utils dot py is the utility function. And in this, the main.python is a script import this module and use their functionalities. Okay. Now just I'm all for the same and just run. So first of all, I'm safe for in this utility. So we'll select all and select. And next step for is a math operation. So again, just select all and save this code. Okay. And now I'm going for the main Python file inside and just again save and it. Perfect. And now just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, it will properly show the output. So first to the print for is the hello Noman, and the addition result is 15 and the subtraction for 6. That means it's perfectly by separating the logic into different modules and achieve a clean and organized code base. And its module has a clear responsibility, making the code easier to understand and maintain. Okay. So now that's it for the today's tutorial, and here I'm properly creating the designing modules and the package. And follow for the best practice like the single responsibility principle. And various modules should have a clear purpose and keep module boundaries clean, and they maintain meaningful names that reflect the module's functionality. Okay. So I hope you're perfectly enjoying in this session and this tutorial. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone, and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today's topic here, I'm creating the writing for clean and the maintainable object-oriented programming code in Python. So clean code is essential for creating software that easy to understand, extend, and debug. So today I'm properly cover for the key principle of writing clean object-oriented programming code and demonstrate with for the example. So first I'm explain for the importance of clean code. Okay. So clean code is not just about making your code look pretty. It's about making it readable, maintainable, and less from the bug. Adopting here is a clean code practice, and its object-oriented programming ensure that your classes and the method are easy to understand and modify even by other developers. Okay. So this session I'm creating for first is apply the single responsibility principle example. And here I'm create the class and use for the simple and understanding example. So first of all, I'm create here is a simple core example. Okay. So you can see just I'm here and create the class. I'm just type for the full form the class. So class name I'm type for it's a order. Okay. And next step I have type for the function is def and double dash type for in this image. And in this inside I am type for the properties. So just I'm type it's in items. Okay. And now I'm type for here the self dot declare these items and is equal to just object in this items. Okay. And now here I'm create another function is a method for the def and then type for is a calculate total. Okay. So calculate total for the method name. So it's type the total, and in this instance type for it is auto generate for the self, and going for here and use the proper the return statement and the type and calling for the sum method. And in this inside first of all the self dot is defined for these items. Okay. So you can see here is done, and I just create another function is def and then type for it's a print function. Sorry, the print order. So just type the method. You can send type of the print underscore is the order. Okay. And now I'm use for here is a for loop and then type for the item e, then type for self dot is defined for in this items. And now I'm just simply use the print function, and in this inside I'm type show the output for. So first of all, I'm type for the output for heading message for item, and now I'm calling for in this item. Okay. So that means in this here I'm create for is for is order class is the responsible both calculating the total price and printing them. Okay. So now let's try and show the output. So you can see I'm just properly saving this code, and you can see here I'm click for in this the right side just press on, and you can see click for in this run. So you can see here is a properly open, but it not show for the output because it's a poor example. Okay. So in this is not perfect. So now I'm creating a void for in this formatted example. Okay. And now I'm properly create here is a cleaned out version. Okay. So you can see I'm create here is again just is show for that's it in this example. And going to next line and here I'm properly create the object. Okay. So you can see first of all I'm type for the order and is equal to again type for in this order. Okay. And now in this inserted I'm create for the elements. So first of all I'm type the 10, then 20 and also for the 30. Okay. And next line here I'm used for the variable name it's a printer. So print is a printer and is equal to type for is a order. Sorry, is a just I'm type for is a order printer. Okay. So you can see first of all is after is creating. So now just going for here. And in this line I'm create for the another class. Okay. So just type for the class and the class name for is a order printer. Okay. So you can see here I'm typed properly the order printer. And I hope your understanding in this order printer is perfect. And now I'm calling for in this the order printer this object. Okay. Sorry. And then going the next line. And now I'll show the output and use for the print function. So you can see first of all I'm type for the print and in this inside I'm type is a total. Okay. And now I am just calling for in this the order dot is type for here is a calculate total in this method. Okay. And now just I'll create here is a printer dot use in this print order and this inside I'm again declare for this order. That means here is a properly by separating the printing functionality into a new order printer class. And add here to the sharp SRP. Now its class has the single responsibility, order handles the order date and the order printer handles the printing. Okay. So you can see here it's done properly and now in this code I am just save. Okay. And let me run this code now. So just click for in this right side this mouse and press for in this run for the main file. So you can see here, first one press for the, you can see here the show the output for is a total is a 60. So now just let me again try and properly create in this code and show the output here. So now I'll perfectly check in this code again. So now in this code, I'm just again for properly select all and save this code and just let me run this code again. So now I just click on in this run icon. So as you can see here is a properly now is print the perfect output. The first is the print for the output is the total for 16 and the item for 10, 20, 30. That means in this the object-oriented programming, just clean code and the maintainable. And I hope you proper understanding in this today's tutorial topic. And hi everyone and welcome back to today's tutorial on creating a GUI applications using the object-oriented programming in Python. So today we explore for how to build a basic graphical user interface using for the object-oriented programming principle. Okay. So first of all, I am explaining for the introduction to the UI development with TK-Inter. Okay. So in this, the Python is provide several libraries for building GUI applications, and one of the most popular is a TK-Inter. And the TK-Inter is a standard Python interface to the TK GUI toolkit. And it's allow you to create a simple to complex GUI applications with easy. So first of all, here I'm creating a simple GUI window. And here I'm using for the TK enter and it's defined for also the main window class that represent the main window of our applications. Okay. So you can see first of all I'm import for in this package. So first time type is import and then type for is a TK and in tier and as for this TK. Okay, it's done. And now wait for the class. A class can use for is a main window. Some type is the main, then type is the window. And now just have a look going next line and here I'm type for the div and then type for double dash in this image. And now here I'm click for the attribute like it's a root. Just go to the next line and first of all here I'm type the self dot is the type for the root is equal to again calling for in this root attributes. And next time type for the self dot is type the root dot is type for here the title and and in this instance set for the title it's the simple for GUI. Okay. And now just read the next line and type for the again self dot is type the root and also here I'm typing the geometry. Okay. So geometry. It's done and now in this instance I'm create the double quotations and also type for here with 300 into into for here is a 200. Okay. It's done and now just I'm adding a label widget. So first of all I'm type for the self dot is type it's a label and is equal to type for is a TK dot and here I'm type for the label and in this inside I'm first is declare the root attribute and secondly I'm type for the text. So text is equal to some create for the welcome message. So first of all I'm type for the welcome to the GUI. Okay. So graphical user interface. And now I'm just going for and here I'm type for is the self dot is type the label dot use for in the pick this method. Okay. So you can see here done and now just I'm creating the root window. So first of all I'm type for the root and is equal to type for TK dot again type for this TK in this method. Okay. And next step here I'm type for is properly just type it's a app and is equal to type for you can see here is the main window and this incident declare for in this simple root. Okay. And now I'm just type for here it's again the root dot and also type for here it's type for it's the main loop in this function. Okay. That means in this example I'm first of all define you can see here is a main window that class that initialize the main window with a title, a size, and a label with the display for welcome to GUI. And the taken method create the root window and the main loop state applications. And now I'm just properly saving this saving this all code and just let me run this code and see the output here. So you can simply click on in this run icon and as you can see here the properly open for the main window and you can see the title for the simple GUI and welcome to the GUI message. Okay. So I hope you perfectly understanding. So now just remove this one and here I'm also creating the adding a button with the event handling. And it's sustained for the applications by adding a button that changes the text on the label when it's clicked. And now create an event handler to the button with the main window class. Okay. So you can see here, I'm just going again here and create the first time use for the root method. And in this inside I'm change for this title and here I'm create another title for it's a interactive for the GUI and use for this the size for the same and adding for the label is just change when this text here. So you can see I'm just remove this text and here I'm set for the another text. So first of all here I'm type for is click the button. Okay, you can see here it's a done for the click the button. And now I'm adding for here the button root page. So just I'm going for in this next line of code, and first of all here I'm type it's a self dot use for the button. Okay, so you can see I'm type for the button and is equal to type for tk dot type for is properly in this button, and in this insert first I'm going to type for the root attributes, and second here I'm type for the text is equal to create for the text is a click me. Okay, and also here I'm type is a command, so command is equal to type for is a self dot use for here is a on. Okay, so on underscore is a button underscore it's a click. Okay, and next step here I'm type for properly self dot is calling for in the button dot apply in the pick this method. Okay, so you can see here it's done, and now I'm create for it here is properly the root window is as usual, and now you can see here in this is simple for this it's interactive, it's a perfect. So here I'm just added a button will get that call the on button click method when click, and this method is update the label for the text on to button is click and demonstrate for the event handling can be integrated into your GUI application using for the OP object-oriented programming. Okay, so now just I'm properly again saving this all code, and just I'm let me run this code. So just click on in this run icon. So I'm fetch for the arrow for is a button click this so just I'm check for in this the main window again, and just properly just I'm again check for in this code, and now I'm perfectly run. So in this my code is completely is a perfect, so it's a perfectly I'm just check again. Okay, is it correct? And now just I'm properly again set this code, and just I'm click on in the second for this run icon. So now it's perfectly working. So as you can see here, see the output for click the button and the click me. So just click on in this. So as you can see here, it's perfectly working. Okay. So I hope you're understanding this tutorial simple, the perfect interactive tutorial. So you can see here the title for the interactive GUI, and the button is click and the click me. Okay. So that's it for the today's tutorial, and here I am perfectly created a simple GUI applications using for the object-oriented programming principle in Python. Okay. So I hope you understanding this topic. So now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hi everyone, and welcome back to today's another tutorial topic. So today I'm building a Python game using for the object-oriented programming principle. And in this session, I create a simple game step by step and demonstrating the power of object-oriented programming is game development. So now let's try. So first of all, I'm simply explain for the introduction to game development with object-oriented programming. So first of all, the object-oriented programming is a great fit for the game development because it's allow you to organize your code into the usable components. And in a game, you will typically have classes for the player, enemies, and the other game object is with their own attributes behavior. And this modular approach that make your code more organized and scalable. Okay. So you can see in this session I'm create here is the adding an enemy and implemented for the simple interactions game. So first of all, here I'm added is a enemy to the game and implement simple interaction where the player can attack the enemy and it's create for the enemy class. that inherits from the character and I add a method for attacking. Okay. So I hope you perfectly understanding in this example, this short script. And now I'll properly create and perfect simple for object-oriented programming principle using for the simple game. Okay. So now let's try. So first of all, in this code, editor inside and create the simple class. Okay. So just I'm type for the class name used for here is enemy. Okay. Enemy, and then in this inside I'm type for it's a character. Okay. Is perfectly typed this one. And now I'll type for here the function instead, and then type for double dash for in this init. Sorry, it's not now. So I'm type for it's a init. And now I'm in this inside I'm set for the attribute. So first of all I'm type the name, and secondly I'm type for here it's a health, and also I'm type for the another attribute for the damage. Okay. So you can see here the perfect understanding, and now I'm here use for the super method. Okay, so you can see here type the super, and now here I'm used for is properly dot, and then tap on the double dash for in this init. Okay, and also here in this inside I'm set for type the attribute. So first I'm type the name, and secondly I'm type for here is a health. Okay, so HEALTH. Okay, it's perfect. The health. And this one next line, and first of all, I'm type for the self, and define for is the another attribute for the damage, and is equal to again type for in this damage. Okay. And now here I'm create the another function for the date, and then type for the method name is the atom. Okay. So it's type for the method name for the atom. So here I'm set for the another attributes like the other. Okay. And here I'm first of all type the other dot is type is properly in this health. This attribute is decrement is equal to type for self dot it's a damage. Okay. And now here I'm used for the print function, and in this inside first time type the if, and the if formatted output here. So first time create is a self dot is a name. Okay, and type for is a attacks, and then type the other dot is type for this name these attributes. Okay, and also we have to type for the for, and again calling for this self dot is type for is a damage, and again type for it's a damage. So it's perfect. Okay. And now just go to the next line of code, and here I'm used for again this print function. So in this insert I'm type for the if, and if formatted output like, so you can see I'm first just type the other dot is defined for it's a name attributes. And here I'm type for, you can see just I'm used for it's a this single quotations for S is a health is now. Okay, so you can say type the now, and then type for it's a other dot is type for in the simple health. Okay, so you can see here is almost complete, and now just complete here is the player and the enemy instance. Okay, so you can see first of all here I'm type is a player, and is equal to calling for the class name is a character. Okay, CHAR. So I'm used for the character. So CHARACT the character. And in this inside, first of all type the double quotations, and then type for it's a hero for the character. And also here type for the value is 100. And next time type for here it's a enemy. So NEMY, and is equal to again type for this enemy, and in this inside for the enemy is a this type for is a goblin. Okay, so is a goblin, and the value for 50 and the 10. Okay, And now I'm just display for the initial information. So first of all, I'm calling for the player. Dot is type for it's a display info. Okay. So just on type for is a display underscore is a informations. Okay. And next type for we can use for it's a enemy. Dot is type for it's a display underscore this info attributes. Okay, that means it completely create my code, and here I'm perfectly create is a simple for the game development using for the object oriented programming for the Python principle. Okay, so in this example, I am first of all here is to create for the enemy is class that inherit from here in this the character class. That enemy class has a additional damage attribute and an attack method that reduce the health of another character and initiated both for the player for the enemy and is the display their initial information and then simulate an attack. Okay, so you can see here is a perfectly create the first class that is a character and the second the base the child class for here is the enemy and in this internet state for in this character class. Okay, so I hope you're understanding, and now I am just properly in this all for just I am save or select all. Okay, so just I am click all and save this perfectly and just I am click for in this run icon. Okay, so as you can see here it properly show the output. So first is print the character name for hero and the health for 100% perfect and again the character and the health and character. So second character for the goblin and the health for the 50. That means if goblin attacks hero for 10 damage and hero's health is now is 90. Okay, so it's perfectly create the simple example, and that means in this the goblin enemy attack the hero reducing the hero's health. This example is demonstrated for how the inheritance and the interactions between the object can be used to build a perfect game mechanism. Okay, so I hope you perfectly understanding this today's tutorial topic, and here I'm perfectly create the simple and the interactive example. Okay, so now just thanks for watching and happy coding. Okay.